Welcome to the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700. Kyle Whittingham Weekly Press Conference already underway, so let's get there.
And so that would be the biggest challenge this year.
Kyle, you saw some progression in the run game from week 1 to week 2. What are you looking for in terms of progression into week 3?
Yeah, like I said last week, 5 yards of carry is my own benchmark that I know we're running the ball effectively. If we're above 5 yards of carry, we were, again, just shy of that. I think it was 4.7 this past week. And when our run game is really clicking, we're up there 230, 40, 50 yards, and we haven't been able to achieve that yet this year. And so I think we did fit the run game up better with the block schemes on Saturday. Obviously, the degree of difficulty was higher. It was a pretty stout front seven, but I still think there's more for us in the run game. Very proud of Mekhi Bernard for what he did. He was 19 carries for over 100 yards and 6.2, I believe, was his yards per carry. So he had a really productive day for us, and as I mentioned after the game, is as close to being RB1 as we have right now, and maybe he'll take that over. We'll see how things progress.
On their quarterback health, there's a good chance you're going to be going up against Bryson Barnes.
Yep.
I can't remember the last time you faced a starter from last year, and you're going to face him the very next year. What did he mean for this program, and just talk about maybe how you think he's progressed since from last year to this year?
Yeah, I watched the SC game today, and SC's really good on defense this year, market improvement. But I thought Bryson was poised. Made good decisions for the most part, took care of the football. He was a great member of our program, great teammate. Called upon him several times to play for us, and he responded. Beat SC last year. He was our quarterback, of course, when we beat SC. Just a competitive, tough, high-character individual, and it's good to see him playing and having the opportunity to play at Utah State. And I can't say enough good things about him. And we're not sure who we're going to see this week. Is it going to be him or the other guy? We don't know. But proud of him and happy for his success.
Coach, there were 122 passing yards. Where's the concern level with the passing production?
Well, when Cam's in there, no concern at all. I think that if we didn't snap the ball a whole lot of times in the first half, and we his numbers weren't bad for what two-thirds or a third of the game, maybe closer to half a game. But had Cam been able to stay in and we would have kept throwing the ball, I think the numbers would have been about right. When Isaac came in this, particularly in the second half, we were really trying to just get out of there with the win and not protect. We're just doing our best to protect the football. And so, but I thought Isaac. Just speaking of him, I thought he's played better last week than he did the previous week, the last game, and had more command, had more confidence. Looked like he played with more confidence, and I think that he came in and held down the fort for us.
Now that you've got a chance to watch the film, what do you think of the play where Cam got injured and the hit?
Yeah, if I was the official on that call, I would have called it. If I was the official, that it looked like certainly the hit started out legal, inbounds, and as it progressed, looked like there was some arm extension and maybe a little extra shove. But I'm not going to complain or whine about it. But if I was officiating on the spot right there, I would have thrown the flag.
Do you think when you retire you'll be an official?
I think there's 0% chance of that. Yes, sir. Yeah, I will not. I respect those guys, and they got a tough job, but that's not for me.
By your own acknowledgement, then, there's no concern when Cam is in there in the flow game, which means then you have concern when he's not in there, by your own acknowledgement, indirectly. With that in mind, can you do anything in practice, because possibility of injury exists every game, obviously, to make sure the backup and the backups are more prepared in case it does happen?
Yeah, that's something that is you look at, but when you split the reps in practice between the ones and the twos, it's not 50-50. It's like 80-20 or 70-30. You get the one guy the first guy tuned up completely and get as many reps for the second guy as you can. I think one thing that would definitely help Isaac is if he got those 80% or 70% of the reps all week long. I know he would be more advanced. Also, just more experience. You know, he's been in a total of one game of college football now, half last week, half this past week, and so I think he's going to continue to get better. We certainly believe that, and we have a lot of confidence in him. It's just he's not ready to go out and throw the ball 45 times, and you know, against especially a team like Baylor, and just not in his development, he's not quite there yet.
In both the play he got hurt on and the previous 25-yard run he had, do you think Cam's doing everything he can to protect himself from injury? Is there anything you'd say to him?
Not everything, but that's who he is. He's so competitive. He's a fierce competitor, as I've said over and over. When he's out there, it just his competitive instinct is just it's just there, and it's hard to shut that off. And man, you get water. Sorry about that. And what was there? Fires are out there or something last week, or something in the air. But answer your question, we'd like to see him be even more cautious and even more cognizant of staying out of harm's way. But again, it's hard when you got a guy that is that. And I keep going back to the same word, competitive. It's not an easy task.
Knowing you may face either one of the quarterbacks at Utah State, how do you have to prepare differently for each of those guys?
Yeah, they're different type of players. Bryson is certainly an athletic kid that's more adept at running the football. If he's a quarterback, we expect to see more QB run than we will if it's the other guy. But that's not uncommon. There's several weeks during the season where you got two guys to prepare for, and you better have your bases covered on each one. So that's not something that is that rare.
Kyle, if Cam isn't able to go, how much of the game plan is going to change if Isaac is under center?
Not a ton. And again, if we feel that he's not ready to go and Isaac is getting the lion's share of the reps in practice, then he'd have just about the entire game plan at his disposal. And so that's to be determined, but that's how it would be determined if he ends up being the guy.
You mentioned when the run game is going, you're getting 225, 235.
Yep.
When the pass game is going, what do you need the pass game?
Same. You know, if we can be balanced, you know, 225, 250, hit 300 some weeks. You know, if you throw for 300 a game, you're going to throw for 3,600 yards in the regular season. We haven't hit that mark. We've been over 3,000 a couple times, and you know, Tyler Huntley, I believe, threw for 3,000. Cam did it a couple years back. So if if 3,000 rushing or throwing and about 2,000 running, 2,500, probably 2,500. That would be about ideal for us.
Been 12 years since you guys have been up there. So you got the greatest memory from the last
2012?
I think it was 2012.
We get beat up there that game, yep.
Yeah, what do you remember from that game?
That we got beat. We didn't play well at all, and they played extremely well. And Gary had those guys ready, and they the quarterback, it was that Chucky's junior year, I think it was. Anyway, that was they were ready to play, and they came out and they executed, and we were not as good as we needed to be, and ended up again getting beat.
And there's two more games signed up in the series. What does the Battle of the Brothers mean to you? I mean, you've been around it for a while.
Yeah, well, it's an in-state rivalry, and it's good for the state of Utah, I believe. It doesn't have as high a profile as the rivalry game with the guys down south, but it is certainly a game that captures the attention of the state and is exciting for the state of Utah.
Like last year, you guys ran a dual quarterback system at points.
I'm going to get lambasted for saying guys down south, but I've been lambasted before. My wife every day.
Last year when Cam was injured, you guys ran a dual quarterback system with Bryson and Nate. Is that something that could potentially happen if Cam isn't able to go this year?
I would say very unlikely. You never want to say never, but I don't think that based on our personnel and what our hierarchy is of quarterbacks right now, I don't see that happening.
2 games into the season, how much from a scouting standpoint is it enough to have 2 games to be able to get a feel for what the teams are as far as the opponents go?
It's way better than 0. It's quite a bit better than 1, but I think 3+ is what you look for. As soon as you start getting 3+, which obviously is next week, then you get a real good feel for a team's MO and what they're about and what to expect and yeah, so probably 3 full games and then everything else. And that's typically what you do as the season goes on. You try to pick the 3 games that are most similar schematically to how you are, and then you have another game or 2 that you add to that. Another game or 2 that rounds out the scout report. But and the coaches look at every game, but that's what you give the players is what we expect to see.
Any other questions?
Okay, everybody.
Okay, clap
Thank
for
you.
that week. All right, there it is. Kyle Whittingham, his weekly press conference. Welcome to the Sean O'Connell Show. I love that the takeaway from that whole press conference is going to be that little comment and then the follow-up from Kyle Whittingham. I'm going to get lambasted.
Remind us of the
Call
comment.
BYU the guys down south. They didn't call them team down south, which if you're going to do it, if you're going to avoid saying BYU, let's clean it up and just make a TDS. Call it team down south, all right? Let's be uniform in this. Look, that's his thing. That's actually not his thing. That's Urban's thing, and then he usually says BYU, but here we are, all right? We cross the bridge when we get to it. He called himself out for it, which means Cougar Board doesn't have to.
Right.
Look, what you heard there was a coach, and I'm reading a lot between the lines. You heard a coach who knows exactly what his situation is heading into a game in Logan where his team is not going to be at its best. If Cam Rising plays, which I doubt, if Cam Rising plays, it's going to be limited. And you're going to look at a totally different game plan offensively from Utah against Utah State than you saw even against Baylor. But you did not hear a dejected tone from Kyle Whittingham there. Post-game, he said, we don't think the injury is serious. This morning, he said, I'm not giving an injury update because we only do that for season ending. So Cam Rising's coming back. When he's coming back, we'll see. I've heard a broad spectrum of ideas about how serious this injury is. My guy Alonso Serenana, who's on the 1s and 2s this morning, is dealing with his own. It basically the exact same thing, right? You get your you get your finger smashed up. You had surgery. Not going to be the case for Cam, but you're also dealing with a phalange out of commission.
Yeah, I mean, if you try to grip anything, it sucks. It sucks. So I can't even imagine trying to throw a football.
In any case, Cam Rising and what he's able to do or unable to do for this team is going to be the main theme moving forward for the year against Utah State, who got smashed up by USC this past weekend. That's not going to be really it's not going to be an ideal situation heading to Logan. Before we preview that game this week, I want to spend some time talking about what you saw against Baylor. And look, everything changes when your guy goes out after less than 2 quarters. He exited the game officially, Cam Rising did, 8 of 14 in passing, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. So two games, and he's got 7 touchdowns already, does Cam Rising. Isaac Wilson comes into the game 4 for 9, 30 yards, and no touchdowns. The most important completion, obviously, was the bulk of those 30 yards. And good questions by the media at the press conference this morning saying, hey, how do you feel about your offense and your passing offense? And he said, well, when Cam Rising's in there, everything's great. You have to figure out a way to make your backup not 100% of Cam Rising, but you got to get him to at least 75% of Cam Rising. And I know that's a big ask for a freshman, but if you can't do it with your freshman, you got to do it with somebody else. I don't want to see Isaac Wilson's development halted or stalled or anything like that. I don't want to. I want to see Isaac Wilson continue to be the quarterback of the future for this football team. There is zero trust right now between the coaching staff and Isaac Wilson's passing execution, and probably that extends to some of his teammates, and that extends to the offensive line. That is the most frustrating thing I've seen, by the way, for Utah football in the last couple of years. The offensive line blocks better when Cam Rising's behind center. And it's not just like, oh, Cam Rising knows how to handle pressure better than anyone else does. No, it's like the line blocks better when it's Cam Rising back there, even in run plays. It's crazy.
So you're saying that if, let's say, one Cam Rising is not in for a series or whatever, that the vibe is completely different?
It's completely different.
Okay.
It's completely different. No one can deny it. It's different on the defense. And that's a testament to who Cam Rising is and his importance and his moxie. But it's also a testament to, like, hey, like, you got to do something to make that not so drastic. And you got away from Baylor with a win at home. Like, the kicks, the blocked field goal, return for a touchdown, first one since, what, was it 1999?
I believe 99 is what Bill said on the broadcast.
And it was Jay Hill last time out?
Yeah. Also, 99 was a long time ago, and I'm pretty angry about that.
1999 was not 5 years ago. It was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't feel good about that.
I don't feel great about it at all.
And none of us like that fact. But here we are. Like, Utah finding a way to win without your starting quarterback for a half is fantastic. Utah being projected to continue doing that when you've seen how significant the drop-off is, like, that has to be fixed right now. We just heard Kyle Whittingham in the press conference say, and then be pressed about it and say, well, how do you get, if you're worried about something in the passing game when Cam Rising's out, how do you get rid of that? And he said, well, we expect Isaac Wilson to develop. He's going to get 80% of the reps. Here's what I need. Isaac Wilson doesn't get to hand the ball off in practice ever again. Never.
Just passes.
Yeah. Like, I will deal with a fumbled exchange if I have to, because I need that guy to figure it out at the college speed, at the college timing, at the tiny college windows compared to high school. We know that he has the necessary talent, but if you're going to see this guy taking snaps against Utah State, heaven forbid against Oklahoma State and beyond, that guy, Isaac Wilson, needs to be more comfortable back there, and everyone needs to be more comfortable with him being back there, and that's going to come with reps in practice. He told us, Kyle Whittingham told us a couple weeks ago, they have enough guys on the team now, and they have enough coaches on the staff. Graduate assistants are allowed to actually coach and talk to players in a way that they weren't before. They're allowed to run drills in a way that they weren't before. Like, I need Isaac Wilson to have his own practice, whether that's 2s versus 3s or it's 2s versus 1 defense. If he's running the scout team, but instead of running scout team plays, he's running Utah's offense. I don't know what it is. Just make that kid air the ball out over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Channel the inner Marshawn Lynch and over and over and over and over and over. Like, get the dude the reps. He's going to be fine once he gets the reps, and he's got to build the confidence. We've seen this with his older brother. The thing that you do to destroy a Wilson as a quarterback is you undermine the confidence. Build this young man's confidence in practice. I am terrified of what it looks like if you've got to play multiple games with him at quarterback right now. And that's not an insult to him. That's just the reality of having a true freshman trying to do it in Big 12 play.
Well, and clearly he did something to set himself apart from the other two guys, right?
That's exactly right.
So he's got something there. We also have to remember he is a kid. The only reason I say that is life comes at you fast. And like you said, when you're coming from, Corner Canyon, great program, all that. But this is a whole different animal. Because Baylor's got dudes. Like, Baylor is not good. Like, I think we can clearly agree that Baylor is just not good. But life came at Isaac pretty quick on Saturday, and where he was struggling was to kind of make that adjustment on timing. So But the one thing I was also kind of confused by is they're going conservative. Like, I get that, but why?
I'll tell you why. Because the margin of victory or the
Was there, yeah.
it wasn't there. Because like if this was the Southern Utah game and you're up 35-0,
different story.
Then with Isaac Wilson, you're just like, fine, like let him make some mistakes. Baylor was dangerous enough, and especially DeQuan Finn, man, you saw when they started to build that drive and he started to get a little bit loose.
Yeah.
They needed some big plays from the defense in order to snuff that stuff out, right? Like Baylor was too close for comfort in order for Kyle Whittingham to say to Andy Ludwig, just run the offense. I promise you, as much as I gushed about it after the coordinator's corner last week and how Andy Ludwig has a grasp on how to handle Kyle Whittingham more than anyone else does in college football and more than anyone else who's ever worked with Kyle Whittingham, when that happened, when Cam Rising, when you've got a lead and Cam Rising goes out and Isaac Wilson comes in and you're running the ball pretty successfully, that conversation is just like, hey, we are going to maintain this lead. We are going to maintain possession of the ball. We're going to not give it back to 12, and we're just going to keep pounding the rock. Offensive line, get your you-know-what together, and let's do this. And to the credit of everyone on this team, they did. But what you saw with Cam Rising exiting the game is that Utah football without Cam Rising is the same Utah football that you had in 2016, 2017, 2018. It is not a dynamic, crazy offense. It is not balanced. It is Utah football that relies on defense, special teams in this game, and, of course, running the football. I'm totally fine with that against Utah State. I'm totally fine with that against Houston. I might even be fine with that against BYU. It's not going to be enough against Oklahoma State. So you need Cam Rising back. And that's why I put the poll question out there today, Alonzo. Did you do that on purpose?
No, this computer has been giving me grief all morning.
Okay. I put the poll question out today. Can you beat Utah State without Cam Rising? I don't know if this injury on the finger, I don't know if it's a broken finger, a lacerated finger, a hangnail. We don't know what it is. We're not going to get details. Can you beat Utah State without Cam Rising? That's the poll question. I put it out there. I want you to answer. I told you every Monday we're going to go through the 5 most important plays of the game. I'm going to do it quickly today because we're going to take a break. We're going to get to Michelle Bodkin. We're going to have some fun on the show today. Alonzo did a great job booking this thing. Scott Mitchell joins us at noon. The Utah quarterbacking legend, Bryson Barnes, the pig farmer, former Utah quarterback, now at Utah State. A guy's going to have to take snaps against his former team. We're going to talk to him about that dynamic. He's going to join the show at 1 o'clock. He is one of my favorite stories in Utah football history. Not because he's the best, not because he's the greatest, not because he's in the record books, but because of what we saw that guy become for Utah, even if it didn't last forever. I can't wait to talk to Bryson Barnes. That's happening at 1 o'clock.
By the way, my guy's got like 4.2 speed. Like that run that he did a couple weeks ago.
Bryson Barnes is a great athlete.
He's a great athlete.
He's an unbelievable athlete.
When you chase pigs all the time, though, that's how you get that done.
It's like, what was it, Rocky IV, where he's chasing chickens around?
Yeah.
Pigs are harder to catch.
Yes, they are.
Grease those bad boys up. They got a little wiggle when you get your hands on them. A chicken, as soon as you touch it, it's just going to be, it's gone.
And pigs are angry.
Dude, they get to a certain size, and I find them disconcerting. Piglets, very cute.
Very adorable. Would love a pet piglet.
Like a 50-pound pig, that's great.
Manageable.
When you see those things start to grow, and you're just like, that thing weighs as much as I do. They are alarming to be around.
And like some of them are, not only hefty, but like massive.
Right.
units.
And they get like real aggressive. I don't know if you've ever like had apples or whatever to feed pigs.
Yeah.
But they get real snuffly, and they're like, once you run out, you kind of have to vacate the premises.
Because they will attack you.
Yeah, because they're like me in that regard. It's like, where's the food?
And then they gaslight you and the whole 9 yards.
Well, I don't know if they're capable of gaslighting.
You don't know that.
The most important plays of the game, Connor O'Toole, sack fumble. Yes, please. Give me more of that every single day.
When that happened, I mean, obviously I know you weren't at the game on Saturday. When that happened, though, I immediately thought Sean is pumping his fist somewhere on a PFL stage right now.
Let me tell you how heated the PFL folks got at me on Saturday. All right. I had fight duties in San Diego, Pechanga Arena. We're on HBO because it was Bellator, okay? We're on HBO Max or whatever it's called now. And we're doing rehearsals. They're like trying to walk through technical stuff, cameras, all this. And I'm the dude, like the best man at the wedding, just not paying any attention. I got the game on the phone. I'm yes. And they're like, what are you talking about? Oh, sorry, nothing. The game. They're like, stop watching the game. You can watch this game when it's over. I was like, okay, yeah. And then, of course, I wait 5 seconds, push play again on the game. I was getting in trouble with the bosses.
Did Randy Couture watch the game with you too?
No, Randy was not there.
Oh, that's right. It's Bellator.
It was one of those situations. The Connor O'Toole sack fumble, huge play in the game. Cam Rising, 25-yard scramble. Again, anytime you see Cam Rising extending plays, running the ball, making things happen with his feet, and then getting back up afterwards, massively important. That one was a positive. First quarter, drive has, there's a threat the drive's going to stall out. Cam Rising pulls the ball down, goes 25 yards, keeps things alive. You end up scoring a touchdown. Cam Rising's exit, the most important play of this game. Even though it didn't change the outcome of the game, it changed the complexion of the game and potentially the season. I don't think it's anything serious. We have no reason to believe it's anything serious, especially the body language of everyone on the sidelines talking to him. He's got the bandage. He's laughing. He's joking. He's having fun. His teammates still found a way to beat Baylor, which I would make an argument for you, Alonzo, that when Cam Rising exited that game, if it was something serious and was going to cost multiple games, Utah probably loses to Baylor. That's the kind of effect that he has on the team.
I see your point.
If at halftime they go in there and it's just like, oh, his finger got chopped off, he's going to have surgery, and, there's going to be at least 4 games, I think they lose. I think that Baylor smells the blood in the water. We saw them in the third quarter really starting to kind of shift some momentum around, and I think the defense subconsciously starts to let up a little bit. I think that offensive line, who finally started to just pin their ears back and push people out of the way and got Mekhi Bernard loose for over 100 yards. I think things go south if Cam Rising's injury is more serious, which gives me more confidence that he's going to be fine. But his exit, still the most important play of the game. And then there was a sequence when Baylor was driving midway through the third quarter, all right? They get a long conversion. It's a first down. Utah pulls off the sack as DeQuan Finn is rolling to his right. And whether it's credit, I don't think it's credited as a sack because I think they had decided that he was going to run the ball at this point. But Nate Ritchie comes downhill through the lead blocker, and takes DeQuan Finn out. Through the lead blocker. It was 2 men in Baylor uniforms against 1 Ute, and he made it happen. That was a crucial play in the game. If he does not get that stop there, Finn probably goes for a long game, maybe even a touchdown. And then as that drive is building and momentum is building and they might go down to score a touchdown, that play forces they get like I think they ran it on second down, short gain, and then Van Fillinger comes up big on third down. Those 2 plays snuffing out what would have been the first Baylor touchdown drive, that was the game. That's where they still fought hard after that, but that was them starting to build momentum and starting to believe in themselves, and the Utah defense saying, oh, okay, we have to do this right now. Those were the plays of the game for me.
Teo Johnson had a great game too.
Teo Johnson had an awesome game. Connor O'Toole had an awesome game. Van Fillinger. Mekhi Bernard had an absolutely incredible game. And you heard Kyle Whittingham say, hey, he's as close to QB1 as we got. Look, credit to Nate Ritchie. Nate Ritchie was the leading tackler in this game, and I just told you about the play that he had. That his play was massively important. And Sione Fotu played a lot in this game. Karene Reed, not as much. Something's going on there. Sione Fotu had a really good game. So these are things to pay attention to against Utah State and, of course, more importantly, against Oklahoma State. But you can't let the Aggies smell any blood in the water like Baylor did for just that drive before those guys on Utah's defense really snuffed it out.
So what you're saying is, and which is what I expect, so no Cam Saturday. It'll be a lot of running, 50, like a more balanced offensive attack.
It's not going to be a balanced offensive attack at all.
Okay.
It's going to be Isaac Wilson was allowed to throw 9 passes in more than a half of football.
Yes.
So you're going to see less than 20 pass attempts in the game against Utah State if it's Isaac Wilson.
So in the immortal words of Shane Irving, run the damn ball.
It's going to be run the damn ball. That's what it's going to be.
Which, I mean, isn't necessarily a bad thing, because if Mekhi is your RB1, that's a great time to showcase RB1.
And it's a better time to gear your offensive line up for, hey, you got Oklahoma State next week. Have we all seen Oklahoma State's linebackers, ladies and gentlemen?
They're terrifying.
Have we seen these people? Oklahoma State has 2 of the best 10 linebackers in the country. Anyway, we got to take a break. We're going to be talking this Utah football game against Baylor all day long. I watched it in 2 different arenas. I watched it on my phone live, and then I came back yesterday and I watched it. And actually, I'm watching the YouTube shortened replays right now as we go through the show. So you're going to hear me exclaim as we're having these conversations, oh, yeah, and this play too, as my memory gets refreshed over and over and over again.
Or when O'Toole gets that strip sack, you're just going to hear, yes.
Already happened in the replay, all right? Less than a month of Salt Lake Bees baseball left. Text Bees to 33986 to win a pair of tickets. The last homestand of the season starts Tuesday the 17th. You're running out of time. Please go to the Bees. 33986. Text Bees to 33986. All right, Michelle Bodkin, Utah Insider, going to join us next. Talk about her reaction to the game. And yes, we will speculate irresponsibly and wildly. It's the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700.
Jordan Noyes kicks it off. It's a high end-over-end kick, backpedaling and taking it. K.D. Nixon 2 yards deep into the end zone. Nixon trying to get to the outside, breaks a tackle, and then he's tripped up at about the 17.5-yard line. University of Utah covering that well, and it was Hayden Fury, the backup linebacker, that made the tackle. So USC will begin things with about an 83-yard field in front of them. And Scott, the guy we'll keep an eye on tonight, wears number 15. His name is Drake London, and he's the best wide receiver in the Pac-12, maybe the best wide receiver in college football.
Yeah, and I think USC will come out and try to just get quick passes, let athletes go on athletes, and just say our athletes are better. But yeah, Drake London is going to be a challenge for Utah tonight. It'll be interesting to see how Utah handles it.
Keaton Slovis brings out the offense, 1st and 10 from his own 17-yard line. Keontae Ingram in the backfield with him, a 3-wide look here on 1st down, a play action pass. Pocket collapses, Slovis throwing to the outside, it's caught at the 30-yard line by Drake London. His 49th catch of the year, 17 making a 13-yard gain on 1st down. The pass rush was there. It didn't quite get home, and he completes the first pass of the game.
Yeah, and they're kind of getting to Slovis quickly, but that's just too easy of a throw. It's one-on-one here, and then Drake London won that one-on-one.
1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. Turn and a give and a play-action roll. Firing to the outside. Flanker screen. That's Bryant. He's got it to the 40 and cut down at the 43-yard line. Gary Bryant. Freshman who's having a terrific freshman year. They're going to go with some tempo now with USC. That's a 13-yard gain and another 1st down. And USC off to a good start throwing the football.
Yeah, I mean, they go 20 yards here, 40 yards in a quick turnaround here. But those bubble screens, that's what was a problem for Utah last year in Salt Lake City, and they didn't handle it well on this first play.
Trips to the left-hand side, a tight end and a tailback of the ball game. Utah with a 4-man down front, 5 now at the line of scrimmage for Utah. Slovis operates out of the shotgun. Keaton Slovis brings Drake London to the inside in the left slot. They hand it to Ingram. Ingram bounces to the outside, tripped up and taken down as he picks up a yard. That was Devin Lloyd shooting the gap and grabbing Keontae Ingram around the ankle for a 1-yard gain. 2nd down and 9 coming up.
Yeah, and good to see from Devin playing downhill and making a tackle there in open field. It's hard to do, and these athletes at USC, they're going to test you all night long.
Keontae Ingram sounds familiar. He ran for over 100 yards and a touchdown against Utah in the Alamo Bowl a couple of years ago, playing for Texas. Slovis going to change the play at the line of scrimmage now. He sees what he likes in the Utah defense. Now they shift around. Slovis on 2nd down and 9, hands it again to Ingram straight up the middle. Keontae Ingram 2nd level to the Utah 49-yard line. It'll be a gain of about 6 yards, maybe 7. It'll be 3rd down and 2 coming up here for USC.
Yeah,
and this is the money down.
It did, no question, money down, but an interesting play there. Utah had everyone lined up on their right side, and then USC changed the play, and then Utah went away from it, and they ran right into where all the other players would have been. They should have stayed where they were.
So 3rd down and 3 here, first 3rd down of the evening. Utah crowding the box. Slovis takes and gives on the fly sweep to Drake London, who's got first down yardage at the 45. He needed 3. He picked up 5. They do a little bit of everything with Drake London. That's a gain and a first down for USC to the Utah 45-yard line.
Yeah, it's like a jet sweep without the jet part. He just kind of at the snap just takes it. And really, all it is a normal sweep play to the outside, well blocked, well executed.
Kind of a Cessna sweep more than a jet sweep right there. So 1st down and 10 USC as they have the ball on the opening drive. 12:24 to play here in the first quarter. 1st and 10 for the Utah 45-yard line. 4 wide look now for Slovis. Brings the receiver in tight, hands it again, this time to Ingram. Stacked up at the line of scrimmage and driven back Keontae Ingram. They tried to spread Utah out that time, and Utah was ready. A 1-yard gain. Tackle right up in front by Devin Kaufusi.
Yeah, and Utah is really stout against the run. You still have to honor that run, even though USC is going to throw the ball a lot.
2nd down and 9. They empty the backfield now. Keaton Slovis stands by himself with a 5-wide look from the Utah 44. Now he changes the play with 15 on the play clock. Utah with 7 at the line of scrimmage. Now they dump out of it. Blitz off the edge, thrown to the outside. They've got London, and he'll be wrapped up and taken down for no gain at the 44-yard line. That was a great read on the outside. Who was that, Fabian Marks? Yeah, it was. Fabian had the initial. He nearly got to that football before London did.
Yeah, and this is something clearly Utah's worked on. They knew USC was going to try this. Great execution. You got to be aggressive on that play, and the corners and the linebackers did a great job.
3rd down and 9 from the Utah 44. Utah showing pressure. Here come the safeties. Hand off now. A batted ball at the line of scrimmage. It's knocked down. Is it a live football? Nope. They'll say incomplete. Hawati Pututau got his hand up and knocked that ball down. Actually, it was
good to go just to make sure that everything's great to go for Oklahoma State, or do you go ahead and give them a few reps, build a lead, and then bring Isaac out? Those are things that this coaching staff is going to have to debate and talk about. And the rest of us will just get to see, what they decide. But at the end of the day, I don't think we're going to see Cam miss a whole bunch of time because of whatever happened to his fingers, hand on Saturday.
I agree with you. Here's the thing. Utah State is a solid team. Look, I'll say this. Utah State has some talented players. They're in a bad spot right now. We're going to talk with Bryson Barnes later on the show. We talked about this heading into the season. A lot of disarray up in Logan. They're making the best of it right now. They just got mollywopped by USC, so they're going to be hungry. We know about the emotional ties with players on this roster and Utah. But I still think that this is the kind of game that Utah should be able to get out of unscathed. I will echo your question and put it back on you. Do you do it without Cam Rising? Do you just say, all right, this is exactly the environment, because they're not necessarily great this year, the Aggies. This is exactly the environment where we're going to let Isaac Wilson go through the growing pains. If you're on this coaching staff, is that the decision you make?
I
And Kyle Whittingham said at the press conference he's as close to RB1 as we have right now. Do we see more of that against the Aggies?
I think you ride the hot hand, right? And Mackay has proven to be the hot hand, at least at the moment. Maybe you have guys, later on figure things out and get going. But, what Mackay brings to the table is, for starts, a ton of leadership, which no one else in that running back room can really say. Jalen Glover's kind of there, too. He's been in the program for a while now. But outside of him, it's Mackay. Mackay's been here for several years. He's been here for, the championship wins and the Rose Bowl experiences. He knows how to win at a high level. Whereas you have a lot of really great talent, I think, in that running back room, but they're young and they're still getting their feet wet and figuring out how college football works. So to me, yes, you continue to use Mackay until for whatever reason you can't, or until someone else steps up that's maybe better, at least as an every down back. But for now, I think Mackay is that guy. And I think Mackay offers a lot of different things because we also see him line up in the slot. And he has nice hands. We've seen him take off in that capacity as well. So he's just someone that offers a variety of things for the Utes to do offensively. And I think that's why he does as well as he does.
I see this wide receiver room and the tight end room, and they're continuing to have to split their reps and split their catches, and that's even with Cam Rising in. And then, you only let Isaac Wilson throw 9 passes, so that takes the load away from those pass catchers even more. How much longer can you go without getting Dorian Singer a touchdown before it becomes problematic?
I think you can kind of wait and start showing that in conference play. I know a lot of fans are angsty about we've heard about all these guys. Why are we not using these guys? And the fact of the matter is, just because you have depth doesn't mean that you play all that depth every game, right? It's you scheme for things. You use the best available talent to expose a weakness. And sometimes that means you might not see a guy or two in a game. And half the point of depth is also being able to give guys rest and keep guys fresh. And that doesn't happen if you keep throwing the kitchen sink out there. So, but as far as, these out-of-conference games have not been the toughest that Utah's ever faced, and so I just don't feel like you need to show anything. So, as of right now, Utah's shown something a little bit new in Dijon Stanley, but they've also shown that they're very capable of rolling with their old ways in Brant Keithy. Save Dorian Singer. Nobody needs to know exactly what that is until you start getting into games that are really going to start mattering for the goals that you have in place, which of course is winning the Big 12 championship game and hopefully going to the playoff and making a little bit of a run. But I think you have the depth that Utah does have at wide receiver. There's no reason to show all the horses that you have in this stable at this point in time. Save it and surprise people when it comes time to make it really count.
I've always said it takes probably 4 games before you really know what you've got in a team. Through 2 weeks, is this Utah team, given everything we've seen, who we thought they would be before the season began? Every time you come on the show, by the way, I'm going to ask you this same question. Is this a Utah team that can win a Big 12 championship? I know you've watched Oklahoma State. I know you see what Arizona and shockingly Arizona State are doing. Is Utah still the best team right now in the Big 12?
I think we need to see a few more games to answer that, but I certainly think they're one of the best, and I don't think that's in question at all. On paper, it feels like they're perhaps the most well-balanced team and the most experienced team in the Big 12, and I think that also counts for something, especially as games get harder. You start losing some of that depth. You have guys that can kind of step up, and they know what's what. But as far as has Utah pieced together what they're fully capable of in the first 2 games that we've been able to watch, and I'm going to guess probably this third game against Utah State? I don't think so. I don't think we've seen what this team is fully capable of. I think we've gotten tastes of it. But again, I think that comes back to you don't know everything you got when the games don't matter as much. You keep it as simple as possible. You keep guys as fresh as possible. And you let it rip when it comes time to play those conference games and really show people what you're made of.
Michelle, it's always great checking in with you. Thanks for joining me on the show today. Thank you for your time.
No problem, James. Anytime.
Did you just call me James?
Yeah, sorry about that, James. My bad.
Wait, why did Michelle just call me James?
I don't know, but you know what?
What's going on? Don't even think about it. Hey.
No.
Don't even think about it.
I'm not the midday host. Is that what you're saying, OC?
James, did you pay Michelle Bodkin to call me James?
What an NIL deal.
Wow.
I mean, I've heard you be called things incorrectly.
I've heard. Listen, I have people I played football with in college that don't even know my actual name because everyone called me by the same nickname.
Right.
But that James is not one of those things I've been called.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone call you James, ever.
That's the first time in my life anyone's called me James.
Hi, James.
Don't do it. Do not do it. Utes Insiders are always brought to you by Metro Elevator. So if you live or work at a building with an elevator that does not seem to cooperate, loves to inconvenience everyone on a regular basis, Metro Elevator is your answer. Utah's preferred vertical transportation experts, 801-946-7003, 801-946-7003. Also want to remind everyone I'm giving away FightCon tickets at the end of the show, all the way up until October 5th when FightCon takes place. And I ran into this weekend at the Bellator fights, I ran into in San Diego one of the guests of honor who's going to be doing a seminar at FightCon. Hoist Gracie, legend. I mean, arguably like the ground zero legend of modern mixed martial arts. Hoist Gracie was there. And we talked about, I'm like, hey, you're coming to Salt Lake soon? And he was excited about it, and he's excited about doing the seminar. And it's happening October 5th at FightCon, which is a bye week for the University of Utah. So you're going to be looking for something to do that Saturday anyway. Sorry to anyone who's getting the honey-do list prepared and thinking that's when you get the projects done. No, FightCon is happening instead, and you're going to a Hoist Gracie seminar. He's pumped to come to Salt Lake. I'm pumped for FightCon, and you are going to be pumped at the Mountain America Expo Center October 5th to get free tickets when you listen right here in about 2 hours to the end of the show.
Just knowing you, after you had your conversation with Hoist, did you have a Brazilian accent?
Yes.
Nice.
I did. This guy.
Oh, that's good. That's
Dude,
golden.
Yes, it was. And then I walked away, and I was just like, jiu-jitsu doesn't actually work, though.
And then he took you down.
He's like, what'd you say? Oh, nothing.
And then he took you down. Oh, so apparently, breaking news. I don't have the breaking news thing at the hand. Apparently, OC totally sounded like you today, is what Michelle Bodkin texted to James Peterson.
What?
That's literally what she just said.
You're telling me that Michelle Bodkin just had a 15-minute conversation with me and thought she was talking to James?
Yes. That's literally, sources say, and the source is Michelle Bodkin, that's what she said.
I'm going to spend 3 minutes deciding if I'm insulted or complimented by that.
I think next time she comes on, just think of like somebody, hey, thanks, Jordy, and then just hang up. No disrespect to Jordy Lindley, but just a name that just doesn't make sense at all.
Coming up in 3 minutes, hopefully I'm still doing the show and not James Peterson. You just never know. Is the Big 12 better as a conference than we expected this year? We have to prepare ourselves for that possibility. Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700.
Two tight end look. TJ Pledger in the ball game. Cam Rising at the line of scrimmage, changing the play. First down handoff. Pledger into the hole, spins off a tackle, gets to the 16-yard line, picks up a yard, and that's it. They ran right at the teeth, and Utah got no push up front that time. Tackle on the play by Rover linebacker Raymond Scott.
Yeah, this is just a straight-ahead zone read here. The tight end pulls and tries to seal that backside, just gets there a little late and kind of gets the play blown up. But, this Utah team's got to come off the ball here.
4 wide look on 2nd down and 9 from their own 16. USC with 4 at the line of scrimmage, 7 in the box. Play action, flanker screen thrown out into the flat to Britton Covey. He's got it at the 20 and spun down. That's Brant Keithy, actually, who came up with that grab. We're a distance away from the field. The 8s and the 0s get mixed up. Keithy picks up about 4 on the play. 3rd down and 5 coming up.
Seeing a better job of 2nd down. Utah's shown so much run on 2nd down. And this is a high percentage play. It's almost like a running play still. And now they're in a manageable 3rd down.
4 wide look on 3rd down and 5 from the Utah 20. They bring Keithy into the left slot. Cam backpedals, looks, fires outside, caught, complete to the outside, but taken down after a 1-yard gain. Mekhi Bernard out of the backfield. USC strung that out, used that athleticism and their speed to get there, and Utah's going to have to punt on a 3 and out.
Yeah, and Cam's got to make a better throw there. He threw it a little bit behind Bernard. He gets it to him in stride. He can turn that shoulder upfield and maybe miss a tackle, but get close to the 1st down.
Gary Bryant back to receive. They've got an off-return man as well back there. Cam Peasley stands at his own 8-yard line to punt this ball away. USC's going to set up the return here. Peasley's punt. Good spiraling kick. Looking up into the sun is Bryant. He takes it at his own 35, and he is going to be wrapped up and taken down immediately at the 35-yard line. Good kick coverage that time by the Utah special teams. Like Clark Phillips was down there doing it. Timeout on the field. Both teams have had the ball. Both teams had the punt. 9:03 to play here in the first quarter from the LA Memorial Coliseum in the Big O Tires broadcast booth. Today's Utah football broadcast being brought to you proudly by Bud Light. Utah fans, welcome back.
Scott Mitchell is going to join us for Big 12 at noon, brought to you by Mountain Land Supply. That's coming in a few minutes here. I want to welcome in another partner on the show. If you haven't been down to Farmer and Chemist in historic Midvale on Main Street, that's on you. You should go down there. Great shop, beautiful aesthetic, and more importantly, incredible products. And Jeff Dunn, kind enough to join us, one of the brains behind Farmer and Chemist. Jeff, welcome to the show again.
Thank you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you. Look, you guys came through in the clutch last week. My guy Alonzo, who's producing the show again today, recently had surgery on a finger, dealing with some serious pain, some inflammation, some massive discomfort. He's like, man, I gotta get something. So we make the phone call, Farmer and Chemist to the rescue, and that's what you're doing. You're helping people manage pain oftentimes, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of pain meds, but a lot of them have limitations. This works for a lot of different types of pain. It's a great anti-inflammatory. It's legitimate. There's a lot of science behind it. This is the real stuff, and it's not very addictive either. So it's a good option for a lot of people.
So chronic pain, acute pain, arthritis. You've got products geared exactly towards fixing arthritis, or I should say, treating the discomfort and pain of arthritis.
Yeah, so arthritis is a great use, in anything with chronic inflammation. And the other uses where there's a lot of science is for sleep and anxiety. So those are the things we know that it works for. A ton of science, and there's a lot of interesting things that it's coming out for. And, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that it helps, from mosquito bites to COVID to even cancer. So in a few years, we'll have a lot more information, but it's a really cool area.
The new information is one of the more fascinating things as I get more and more acquainted with your products and your store and obviously what you guys are doing. Yet we all know CBD, right? Everyone's heard CBD at this point. what's the difference between CBD and CBN products? Because I'm hearing and reading a lot more about CBN, CBG, et cetera.
Hey, that is a great question. So CBD and CBN and CBG, these are all what are called cannabinoids. And so they're different things, and there are actually over 100 of them. But the ones that have been studied the most are D, N, and G. And G is actually a really good anti-inflammatory and pain cannabinoid as well. So if you combine that with CBD, it's great. And then CBN is for sleep and anxiety. So you put that with CBD, it's good. So we have a lot of products where we combine those, and then we can dial something in for somebody and really find the right product, the right dose, the right route of administration to find something that works for somebody. And to your point, there's a lot of bad stuff on the market, and we always recommend talk to a pharmacist, use something that's tested. All of our stuff has certificates of analysis. It's registered with the state. We would love to have somebody come in and talk to a pharmacist and walk through this and spend some time. And we'll be honest, we'll let people know where this doesn't work. But we do definitely focus on the science as pharmacists.
farmerandchemist.com or down there on Main Street in Midvale, and a special offer for ESPN 700 listeners, right?
Mention ESPN 700 either online or in the store, and you will receive a 20% discount. And again, we want people to try this, and so if they can get a little bit of a discount to try it, see if it works, that's awesome. That's what we want.
Go check them out. Tell Jeff and company at Farmer and Chemist that OC sent you. Monday to Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday, 10 to 5, closed on Sundays. Farmer and Chemist and farmerandchemist.com. Jeff, thanks as always.
Hey, thank you.
All right, we got to take a quick – I want to get to Scott Mitchell on time instead of keeping him waiting. So, Big 12, your Utes at noon with Scott Mitchell next on the Sean O'Connor.
Freshman Zamiah Vaughn matched up on Drake London right now. Let's see if they go his way. Turn and a give. Ingram. Oh, he's got the next. Make it Darwin Barlow, second level, and all the way down to the Utah 26-yard line. That's going to be another USC first down. He needed 6. He picked up 7. And they've got another good drive going here just outside the red zone at the 26-yard line.
Yeah, and all this is it's just kind of nickel and dime you, and this is where Keaton Slovis is at his best, and Utah's just got to play this a little bit more stout on these throws.
Vaughn matched up again with Drake London. Here's that area of the field where they like to throw jump balls to him. They'll shade a safety his way on 1st and 10 from the Utah 26-yard line. Slovis going to look to the sideline now, change the play as he gets it in from Graham Harrell. Barlow moves to his right-hand side. Utah showing pressure, and here they come. Handoff Barlow into the hole, jump cut, just past the 25 and down to about the 22. They're pushing the pile. It's still going inside the 20 and all the way down to the 18-yard line. He was stopped at the 23, and they pushed him forward for 5 more yards. And that's going to be second down and short now for USC. They'll go with tempo now. No subs on the field. They'll snap the ball and hand it again to Barlow straight ahead to the 15, down to the 14-yard line, and that's good for a first down. And they're in the red zone now and in business as USC, and they're not subbing here. They're going with tempo. Utah having to shuffle guys in and out pretty quickly here. As Slovis doesn't huddle up, he just looks to the sideline. First down and 10 USC. Clock running, 5:37 to play here in the first quarter. Scoreless for now. SC threatening right now. Barlow in the backfield. Tight end and 3 wide receivers here for USC. Now they shift into the pistol formation. Slovis now changing the play, turns around and tells Barlow. Takes the snap, turns and gives. Barlow straight ahead to the 10 and falls down right there after a 4-yard gain. Boy, if he kept his footing there, he might still be running.
Well, Utah's gone to a 3-man front. So they're like a 3-3, 3 linemen, 3 linebackers, and they had Devin Lloyd as an end. So it's kind of that. It was kind of what BYU did against Utah early on in the season, and it's kind of designed to, stop the run but also stop the pass. But it's more susceptible to the run.
Keep an eye on the jump ball to London here. First to make it second down from the 10-yard line of Utah. Slovis moves a man in motion across the formation. Takes the snap and drops to pass. Looking toward the corner of the end zone. Throws in the flat to Washington instead. And he's wrapped up and taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Nephi Sewell from his linebacker spot came up and made the stop on Taj Washington. That's going to bring up third down, and we'll call it about 8.
Yeah, great read here. This is it's just a designed kind of screen here out to Washington, but well read and well reacted by Nephi Sewell. Good to see him back healthy again.
Trojans are 1 out of 2 on third down here in the first quarter. Clock running at 4:10 to play. here in the first quarter today here at the Coliseum. From the Utah 11-yard line, Slovis lines up 3 receivers right and 1 receiver. That's Drake London to the left. They'll shade a safety over to help. Barlow in the backfield. Slovis wants the snap, takes it, backpedals, pumps once, looking, pressure in his face, throws, incomplete, broken up, nearly intercepted by Utah. They were looking for Gary Bryant, and the pressure right up the middle came from Vimahi. Akeli Vimahi got right in the face of Keaton Slovis and forced the incompletion. That'll bring out the field goal team here for USC.
Yeah, very, very well done up front. I mean, that wasn't a pressure throw there, but a nice job. And of course, Reed also came in and knocked that ball out.
Here's a field goal attempt. Parker Lewis hasn't missed this year. He's 9 for 9. This will be a 28-yard field goal inside the left hash. Kick is up, and the kick is good. Parker Lewis can't lose. And that's a field goal. 3:48 to play here in the first quarter. USC leads it 3-0. 12 plays, 53 yards, 5:15 off the clock. The only incompletion for Slovis was on that last pass breakup on third down. He was 5 of 6, but just for 29 yards, Scott. That's a win. If you hold USC to field goals, that's a win.
No question about it, especially with a player like Drake London down there you can throw that jump ball to and get those touchdowns, and Utah did a nice job. Bend but don't break. Whoa.
Kickoff is 2 tight end look. TJ Pledger in the ball game. Cam Rising at the line of scrimmage, changing the play. First down handoff, Pledger into the hole, spins off a tackle, gets to the 16-yard line, picks up a yard, and that's it. They ran right at the teeth, and Utah got no push up front that time. Tackle on the play by Rover linebacker Raymond Scott.
Yeah, this is just a straight-ahead zone read here. The tight end pulls and tries to seal that backside, just gets there a little late and kind of gets the play blown up. But, this Utah team's got to come off the ball here.
4 wide look on 2nd down and 9 from their own 16. USC with 4 at the line of scrimmage, 7 in the box. Play action, flanker screen thrown out into the flat to Britton Covey. He's got it at the 20 and spun down. That's Branch.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Sean O'Connell Show. Scott Mitchell is going to join us a couple times a week. I love having conversations with the Utah football legend, color analyst on all Utah football radio broadcasts. Conversations with Scott Mitchell are brought to you by Larry H. Miller Chevy. You could take advantage of better than employee pricing this month and Solitude season passes with every new vehicle purchase. That's online at LarryHMillerChevrolet.com. Scott Mitchell, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, Sean. Always great to talk to you, and I'm so excited to talk about Utah today. I really am. I saw a lot of just amazing things in the game. I think there's kind of a little bit of, forlornness about things, but man, there's a lot of good in what happened on Saturday.
I appreciate that positive slant on things, so we'll start there. We could be forlorn here in a couple of minutes, but what was maybe the number one thing that you took away as a prevailing positive?
Well, there's really not one thing, but you always watch the offensive line and the defensive line. That's going to tell you basically what's going to happen in this game. Utah was dominant on the offensive line, dominant on the defensive line. Utah was running the ball early, and then, of course, when Cam came out of the game, they put an extra guy in the box, and that's just hard to run against. I don't care who you are, it's running against a brick wall. It's really a challenging thing, but the offensive line did a very nice job. The defensive line, which was really good in the first game, was even better. Connor O'Toole just really has a motor that's been going, but all those guys do. I mean, and they were so great in their discipline in their rush lanes, when it was pass and run, because the quarterback, he's going to hurt you if he gets out of the pocket. And they really did a nice job of containing Finn, for most of the game. So when you see this, when you see your offensive line, your defensive line do this, you're going to win the game, right? You're going to win it. The only way you don't is if you have turnovers. If you turn over, and especially turnovers that turn into touchdowns, you're going to lose the game. So it was We are not going to lose this game. We're not going to try to get Isaac Wilson a lot of experience, a lot of reps here. We're going to run the football. We're going to shut it down. Our defense is going to contain this game and shut it down. Now, the other thing I will tell you about the defense, Sean, was 3 plays from being massively dominant in this game when I thought they were actually pretty dominant as it was. The one play was the personal foul at the end of the first half. They don't get the personal foul. Baylor doesn't kick a field goal. The other one was they had a run blitz, and they ran the run blitz the wrong way. So it was either by design, someone screwed up, whatever, and Baylor had the perfect call on for what was going on, and the guy scooted out the backside for really a big gain. And that was kind of one of those that really got Baylor out of, because they were backed up in a changed field position, gave Baylor some confidence. And it was just really one play screwed up, and actually confirmed after the game when we talked to the players. And then the third one was the screen pass that Baylor scored on. And Utah's so good at that. They've been so good at that, but the defense was a little fatigued. And that was the thing that I think people need to understand about early season games. You can have all the fall camp you want, you can practice, and you can be in unbelievable shape, but you're not in game shape. Nobody is. And the only way you get in game shape is to play in games. And the only way to play in games is like to play a whole game. And this offense has only played a half a game. And not really a lot of plays even at that, because they were so dominant against SUU. So now you're playing a whole game, and you kind of have to fight your way through that early season fatigue, which you kind of saw, because this game felt like it was going to just be an absolute blowout from the beginning. But, momentum and those ebbs and flows and things changed. Cam Rising got injured. That really threw everybody off mentally. But I don't think people are talking much about this fatigue. And it's a real thing. And next week, Utah's going to play better, and they're going to play even better when they go to Oklahoma State, because this team, Sean, is a really, really good football team that hasn't even touched on even close to all cylinders, either on defense or on offense.
Well, that's the level of optimism that I think everyone came in with. Like, what can this team be? And I agree with you wholeheartedly. We haven't seen anywhere near their ceiling yet. Is that because they haven't been pushed to the level where you have to that has to emerge? Because look, we've seen other teams who are great, who are top 10, who are in that same conversation as Utah, and even against USC. Stomped all over the Aggies last week, not because the Aggies pushed them to it. They were just firing on all cylinders. Their defense, and I mean, they're fatigued and dealing with it like everyone else is. So what is it going to take for Utah to, what's it going to take to bring that out of this Utes roster, do you think?
Well, and part of it, I mean, you look at the early part of this game, and there was a little bit of a lull, even in the end of the first half. The team got up 17, then they got up to 23, and it looked like they're really going to roll, and they were on their next drive, and Cam Rising got hurt. So the game before, they scored so quickly that they took the offense out very early in the game. They didn't have that many chances. Utah hasn't even unveiled or unraveled or even delved into this wide receiver position group, which can be so explosive. And we got a little glimpse of it. We got a little fake reverse to Dejon Stanley and keep the ball by Money Parks, and you got two speed burners, and one's going one direction, is going the other, and that's hard to defend. The speed kills, and you get that speed out on the edge, and that was just a small little sampling of things. There's a pass by Cam early in the game. He has Dorian Singer on a post, great reads, big shot. Should have been completed and just slightly off. And part of that is, just getting these groups together and getting all of these guys on the field and having enough plays for these guys to really develop. Tight ends the same way. I mean, wow, you have such a fun thing. And you talked to Andy Ludwig last week about, the wealth of riches he has at positions and all of the different positions, and being able to really kind of let your creative juices go and really have an opportunity to to make that happen. And the one thing that Utah wasn't good at offensively last week was third down, because third down gives you more of those plays, and they were not very good. And part of it is because the only way Baylor stopped Utah running the football is when they put 7-8 guys in the box. And you have a quarterback, like, you're not gonna let Isaac Wilson lose the game for you. You're not gonna let him turn the ball over. You're not gonna put him in a position to turn the ball over. And so you're gonna run the ball on first down. Baylor kind of dials into this, and so now you're at second long, and then you don't get a whole lot on second down because you're gonna run it again, and they know it again. And so then you get to third down, and you're 3rd and 5 and 6 and 7, and you're putting a young, very inexperienced quarterback in a position to convert the most important down there is. Now, he made a big throw for a first down with a guy in his face, but he missed an easy throw to Dorian Singer on a little option route, that would have converted a third down. But the point is if it's me, I'm not putting a young quarterback in a position early on in his development to have to make a play on 3rd and long. If they're putting 7-8 guys at the box, you got one-on-one on the outside, you're going to have a better opportunity of having success and building confidence throwing early in a series or in a series of downs, and kind of countering, going against the grain of what the defense is doing. So I just feel Utah shut it down pretty much at halftime. So basically, we've seen a half of this football team offensively in 2 games. We haven't even seen 2 complete games of this offense, even with Cam Rising in the game. And so, because when Cam's in the game, things are different. They are definitely different, and he has the confidence, he has the experience, and he has the knowledge to really get the ball to these right guys. And so, I don't know how long he's going to be out. I don't think it's going to be that long, but there's just tremendous potential this Utah offensive team will get going. The offensive line played better. There were still some hiccups, but overall played a lot better. And we learned a lot about the defense, Sean. The defense played, I thought, very, very good in this game.
Scott Mitchell, Utah insider, Utah legend, part of our Big 12 at noon conversation, brought to you by Mountain Land Supply. Go to mountainlandsupply.com. I want to talk about Isaac Wilson because we have not seen the last of him this season. I think we're going to see a lot of him against Utah State, whether that's because they just keep Cam out or they try to get Cam out early, again, because they want to rest him or let him heal the hand, whatever it is. I think we're going to see a lot more of Isaac Wilson. There's been a big drop-off, and you've been a starting quarterback. You've also been a backup quarterback, and when you're in that position where you're the guy who goes in when the guy goes down, how do you make sure there's not a drop-off? I know he's a freshman. I'm giving him all the leash because he was in high school 2 games ago. Like, I think he's going to be a great player. I'm fine with whatever development needs to happen, but what can Isaac Wilson and this coaching staff do to make sure that Andy Ludwig is like, I can throw the ball more than 9 times and a half with you in? What can he do?
9 times. 9 times. Look, here's the thing. Isaac Wilson has talent. Okay, he does. There's a lot of zip on the ball. He's actually fairly accurate throwing the football. He's shown an ability to throw it in tough situations, throw the ball down the field, throw it short, whatever he needs to do. And you really kind of have to identify, because to me, I think the biggest mistake is don't shut it down like you did last week. If he's going to get all the reps, he's going to get all the practice time this week. Get him confident in this game. Isaac, what do you like? What do you feel confident? And I throw early. I really do. I throw early. And look, this is no offense to anyone in the whole entire world, but this is the team up north. Can we say that? I know Coach Whittingham said it was the guys down south. So this isn't, you're not playing like, this is a good game for Isaac Wilson to get in and to play and to gain some confidence, because he's got to have, not only does he have to get confidence, but the other people around him have to see him have confident dudes. Like you've got a great tight end, you've got some great wide receivers, great tight ends, you got great tight ends. I mean, tight ends are like the great bailout of all bailouts, right? They're always open. Just right over the middle of the field, those tight ends are open and open and open, and that's part of Andy's offense, it's been there. There were plays where he threw to tight ends in situations. So to me, it's throwing the ball early to the tight ends, to the wide receivers in the middle part of the field, because throwing in the middle part of the field is the easiest part to read. It's right in front of you. When you get down the field and to the outside, there's a lot more bodies involved in it. But when it's right in front of you, you got this big body. It's really nice. And you got some guys that got great hands and ability. Isaac Wilson does not have. The world is not on Isaac's shoulders, right? He's just got a plethora of guys, including Mekhi Bernard, who I believe actually has established himself as that, RB1 for Utah. He just had an exceptional game, ran so hard in the middle and talked about it. He says, I put a little bit of weight on because I want to be the dude that runs. And he knew that being lighter in the past, it was hard for him to kind of take and dish out some punishment as he ran inside the tackles. And so a lot of weapons here for Isaac Wilson, but I think it's a mistake if you limit the playbook, because what you limit in that is you limit Isaac Wilson's confidence, you limit the whole team's confidence. Let the boy throw it, let him throw it early, and let him throw it often.
Scott Mitchell for a couple more minutes here on the Sean O'Connell Show, talking about Utah as they come off a big game, big win at home against Baylor. It's Utah State this weekend. Look, we know that Utah is going to be heavily favored against the Aggies. You're going to join me again on the show later in the week, and we'll talk about this game in more detail there. But at first blush, Utah versus Utah State, it's a road game for the Utes. So what's your expectation?
Well, there's always that road game, and it's a lesser opponent thing, and are you going to show up? But what I really like about this opponent, and I've liked this flow or how this schedule of non-conference games works, because you played Baylor, and it showed you a lot of who you are and who you weren't. You still don't totally know who you are and who you aren't, but they're going to go back and they're going to make some corrections from this game. And so it's that final tune-up to where, okay, we've got another opportunity here. And that's why, to me, you don't limit Isaac Wilson, because if he's going to be a guy down the road, if Cam Rising gets hurt again, or if Cam Rising can't go for a couple of more weeks, and Isaac Wilson has to play Oklahoma State and Arizona, he's going to have to throw the football, and he's going to have confidence throwing the football. So that that's part of. Boy, I'd sure like Isaac Wilson playing this week than to have to come in next week in a conference opener on the road. It's going to just gives him the confidence of having to practice all week and how to prepare all week and how to really get ready for a game. And Isaac, there's going to be ugly moments. You're going to have them, but I believe you can have a lot of really, really good moments with him, and as he learns, because you just don't learn any other way than just getting out there and doing it. So I expect better play. The kicker didn't do very well. I mean, we didn't really talk much about that, and that was something I think everyone felt was kind of a lock. I mean, you left 7 points on the field, just even how things were. 2 field goals and an extra point, and those were both very makeable field goals. So it almost seems like maybe you should put the guy on the other hash mark. I don't know, but that's got to get corrected, and because that gets in your head. You start missing them, then you keep missing them. So the kicker needs some confidence again, and probably will get more opportunities to kick field goals, and you just want to get all that stuff out of your head. So when you go into your final or your first conference game, you're not still trying to figure stuff out, and you're really playing at a high level where you can because you're going to need it when you go on the road, and Oklahoma State, they're going to be excited because Utah's the big target, and they want to send a message. That's just how football people are. They always got to send a message of, hey, we're here too, kind of thing. And so I like this matchup. I like where it comes. I like the whole idea of kind of figuring things out after playing, an okay Baylor team, and we'll see. I'm not overly concerned about Cam Rising. I'm really not.
All right, you reserve the right to change your answer as more information about Cam Rising and the injury comes out. It's not serious. You could tell by his body language. You could tell by the way the coaching staff talked after the game and the way Kyle Whittingham conducted his press conference this morning. It's not a serious thing. Let's say that the option is for Cam Rising to play this week, or you could hold him out. Right now, the Aggies are 21.5-point underdogs with Utah. That's equipped with the knowledge that Cam Rising has a finger injury. Do you play Cam Rising if he's available? Do you sit him if he's available? Do you plan on a half? How do you manage Cam Rising knowing what's looming in week 4?
So the most important thing you can do this year is win your conference. So those conference games are the ones that absolutely matter. Utah State, for whatever it is, doesn't mean anything other than getting the final tune-up, kind of figuring some positions out, some techniques, some, just some stuff, right? And so I like it. But if there's any hesitation, any question, any doubt, I'm not playing Cam Rising, and that's not going to change, during the week. My one concern is he's been out for a year and a half, and he's not 100%. He's still a little rusty. He needs to feel and see the game unfold, and so he can make decisions, and he can make decisions quicker, and he can make, very good decisions. And he knows that. He knows how to play the game. But I would rather have a rested somewhat Cam Rising with his finger going into Oklahoma State than a kid that tried to play too soon and he just keeps bugging his finger, because it's not his throwing hand. Now, it's not the index finger and it's not the thumb. And I'm a firm believer that those are the most important fingers you need. And maybe your pinky, believe it or not, but those two middle fingers, he can constantly be giving the Aggies the middle finger as he holds the football and just keep it off the ball, or lightly positioned. Because I would imagine the aggravation would come from the motion of throwing, because your wrist flicks to the outside, and how much pain you have in that finger, and if it's just like a stretched ligament, a broken bone, that's the worst thing to me. And so I think you can tolerate the pain. I went back and looked at the film, and it didn't look like it said he had a laceration, but I didn't see like bleeding, or I didn't see, he clearly did something to it, because he shakes his hand as soon as he gets up off the pile. But, so it's kind of like, if you absolutely had to play and it was an important game, I could see Cam probably playing. But if not, it might make a lot of sense to hold him out for the games that matter.
Scott Mitchell, a little bird told me you're going to be bringing Down and Dirty to ESPN 700. Is that true?
Down and Dirty. That's right. We're going to bring some Down and Dirty. It's not what you're thinking, Sean. This is a sports show. Come on. Get your head out of the gutter.
Family show. We're family friendly here on ESPN 700. Scott Mitchell's Down and Dirty podcast is coming to ESPN 700.
That is true.
When? When do we get to hear it? I mean, come on. Give me a scoop here.
Well, we're just trying to work out some final details about, a relationship.
All
I'm
right.
entering a relationship with the folks at Broadway Media. And
all right. Well,
we haven't quite finalized that yet. But
look, I'm excited about it. I want to be as much a part of it as I'm allowed to be. I
love to have you a part of it.
Love talking as much football as we possibly can. And thanks for joining me today, as always.
Always a pleasure. You got it. Go Utes. That's
Scott Mitchell, Utah quarterbacking legend, color analyst on all Utah radio broadcasts, which, of course, you can hear right here on ESPN 700, 92.1 FM, the ESPN 700 app, and you should be tuning in on the YouTube channel as well, because I look very handsome today.
Well, I mean, you look just like James.
According to my mom. Oh, that's messed up. Really? We
Well,
sound alike and we look alike?
That great interview with Michelle, the vibe deteriorated immediately when she called you James. Shout out to Michelle Bodkin.
I will never financially recover from this, to quote the Tiger King.
Emotionally, financially. There's a lot of ways that you'll never recover. By the way, I like
also,
how
I got yelled at by a golden doodle on Twitter today.
Yeah, about to say, are we beefing with a golden doodle today?
What kind of person am I if a golden doodle is mad at me?
Clearly a terrible person.
I need to reevaluate my life.
It's not a good Monday for you today. You have a solid case of the Mondays today.
I guess so. Wow.
Yeah, I saw that and I was just like, whoa. I didn't realize golden doodles got that yappy.
Yeah, they do. They're actually, hot take on golden doodles, nowhere near the dog that people think they are.
No.
Nowhere near. I know why they're popular, but please, everybody relax on the doodling of all breeds.
Yeah.
We're over doodling.
A buddy of mine has one. Incredibly cute dog. The most cute large paws you'll ever see. My guy's got the intelligence of that binder that's on your desk. Shout out to the homie Pluto.
Nothing better than a dumb and hyperactive dog, which they're prone to that as well.
Yes. It makes no sense at all, but that's where we're at.
That's a public service announcement from the Sean O'Connell Show. Stop doodling every breed of dog. Every single breed on the planet, we're just like, I need a pit bull doodle. Let's go. Stop.
It's true. I mean, the French bulldog.
Do they have those now?
Yeah, French bulldogs are a thing.
Frenchie doodles?
I mean, that'll probably be incoming.
No, French bulldogs are very popular now, and they weren't like 20 years ago.
No.
You know how overbred those things are?
Insanely overbred. And you feel bad for them because they're mouth breathers, but also no fault of their own. It just gets worse progressively.
They are cute, though.
They are. They really are. They smell weird, but I don't even care about that. They smell yeasty.
I smell weird, too. It's fine.
It's true. You look great, just don't smell good.
Ugh, man. We're going to recover this Monday, okay? We're halfway through the show, all right? Second half's going to be a strong half, ladies and gentlemen. Big 12 by the numbers next. It's the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700. There's no audio in here now. No. You good? Hello, friends. Are you ready to elevate your drive? Check out the brand new Ineos Grenadier at Warner. This no-nonsense utilitarian SUV is powered by a turbocharged BMW inline 6-cylinder engine and 8-speed transmission. ready to conquer Utah terrain.
Here we go. They're going to throw it to the outside now. They've completed it to London. Drake London picks up yardage down to the Utah 25.
Demo the Ineos Grenadier.
A gain of 8. Utah wasn't set.
2400 south and 56.
And now they're going to substitute in, and Avonte Davis comes out. Brandon McKinney was banged up. He's in the ball game now. Second down and 2.5. Trojans from the Utah 25. Ingram, second level, still on his feet, pushing the pile, gets to the 20-yard line, and another first down.
Yeah, USC just saying, you're in a three-man run front, you're susceptible to the run, we're just going to come off the ball and run at you. And you got some guys that are trying to figure out new spots here. This was a bold move by Utah, and it's paid off okay so far, but this defense you still got to figure out how to play it in different positions. I mean, Devin Lloyd's a defensive lineman. You got people in different spots, and you're going to have guys make and miss assignments.
SC taking its time now. Now they'll huddle up and get to the line. 9 on the play clock, 1st and 10 from the Utah 20-yard line. Slovis brings London into the left slot. Play action rolls. London in the flat. He's open at the 10. London's at the 5. Hurdles to the end zone. Touchdown. Nobody followed him on the...
Little Big 12 by the numbers on the Sean O'Connell Show. Just some numbers that jumped out from the Big 12 weekend. Here's a number that you should be paying attention to. 2 wins already for Arizona State, okay? That 2, there were people out there who thought Arizona State was going to win 2 wins all year long. The Sun Devils are firing. This is a really interesting team right now. 48-7 over Wyoming. And you're like, okay, well, Wyoming's a respectable team, but it's still Wyoming. How about 30-23 over the Mississippi State Bulldogs? The SEC is not the deepest conference in the country. They're top-heavy this year. Mississippi State is going to lose a lot of games, but it's still an SEC team. And again, Arizona State was supposed to be a bottom dweller in the Big 12 this year. They may turn out to be exactly that. If I'm being honest, what I have seen from Arizona State so far this year has me rethinking my expectations for them. So 2-0, 2 wins, a number from the Big 12 from Arizona State you need to take a look at. But also, Cam Scatterbo. Cam Scatterbo is exactly what the transfer portal was supposed to be. A guy from lower division football. He was overlooked. He was a Sac State overperformer, somebody who was clearly too good for 1AA football, for FCS football, and he got the opportunity to go play for Arizona State. He is a senior now. He's 5'11", 215 pounds, and he went off against Mississippi State, which, again, is more impressive than going off against Wyoming. Cam Scatterbo, 33 rushes, 262 yards in this game. Also pretty crazy to have 262 yards in a game and no touchdowns on the ground. So if you're Scatterbo, you're probably bothered by that a little bit. He also was the leading receiver in this game for Arizona State, who threw the ball, had exactly 10 completions in this game. So Arizona State is in a situation right now where they don't trust the quarterback situation all that much, and they're just running the ball, and they just mobbed up Mississippi State. 33 for 262 for Cam Scatterbo. And as long as we're staying on the running train, we're staying on the rush train, I told you in the Big 12 by the numbers last week to keep an eye on UCF and their rushing offense. Right now, the Golden Knights have 11 rushing touchdowns on the season through 2 games. They're averaging 419 yards per game.
Say that one more time.
419 yards a game on the ground. On the ground.
That's insane.
Yeah, UCF right now is just running the ball. And again, you have to when you pay attention to these numbers, and I'm asking you to, you have to pay attention to who did they put the numbers up against. Sam Houston, who's a brand new FBS team, and New Hampshire, okay? 57-3 over New Hampshire, 45-14 over Sam Houston. But 400 yards a game is just beastly.
I can't even think of anyone else that's doing that so far.
Another Big 12 number that jumped out to me. Do you remember how we were talking about 10 catches, 304 yards for Tetaroa McMillan in the first game of the season?
Yeah.
I know that you haven't looked at this, so you're not cheating. But just against Northern Arizona, okay? What would you guess the numbers for Tetaroa McMillan are against Northern Arizona?
I'm going to go, and you're right, I haven't looked at it. Thanks for putting me on.
Against New Mexico, 10 for 304, 4 touchdowns.
I'm going to go 8 for 260.
That would be a reasonable guess. He had 2 catches for 11 yards.
Wow.
You're like, what's going on here?
Glad fantasy football isn't a thing in college.
It is, though, right?
Kind of. I mean, you don't subscribe to it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Us degenerates, on the other hand.
You're not that degenerate.
That's true. I'm semi-responsible. But no, especially against a Northern Arizona. Like, it's not like it wasn't the powerhouse of, SMU or something like that, right? It was Northern Arizona.
Another number you need to take a look at in conference play right now. Sacks allowed in all games for 2024. We talked about the University of Colorado and how difficult it was going to be for Shedeur Sanders and how difficult it was going to be for Dion to build wins and to build momentum and to figure out a way to improve over last year, not because they lack skill, but because this team did not improve enough along the offensive and defensive lines. Through 2 games, the University of Colorado is 15th in the conference in sacks allowed. Shedeur Sanders, who, by the way, is fairly athletic and mobile and aware in the pocket, has already been sacked 7 times this season.
What is happening in Colorado? Everything's on fire.
Shiloh Sanders had surgery on a forearm injury, so he's going to miss time. He's the second best player on your defense, and you're already reeling after losing to Nebraska. Can I ask you where you stand on the whole Shedeur exiting the field 2 minutes early kind of situation?
Granted, I don't know if he left because of granted, they were getting whooped. But for me, it's not a good look. And then to add insult to injury, there was a big old Colorado Buffalo bus that just ran over everybody, and it had Shadeur's face on that bus. Like, in that presser, that was brutal. Like, literally, it's the Spider-Man meme. Like, they're all pointing at each other. And at the end of the day, I mean, no one can deny that Shedeur is a talented quarterback. You cannot deny that.
He's incredibly talented. He's a good quarterback.
Yes. However, I feel like that scheme ain't it for him. But how do you go to your dad?
I don't know. Like, I don't even know if the scheme can fix anything when you don't have an offensive line capable of executing the scheme.
Well, yeah, no, that's 100% true. That O-line ain't good. But there's just so many issues there, and they're still doing, like, to go about it that way. I mean, could you imagine, of all people, like in the pros, a Dak Prescott, going out and just roasting his line like that? No. Like, what it would come down to is they play it in the sense of, no, hey, today just wasn't our day. We got to be better. We move on. Instead, you have ran over everybody. Publicly.
I'm on Ollie Gordon watch as well in my Big 12 by the numbers. I always want to know what's going on with Ollie Gordon, best running back in the country last year, and maybe one of the most dangerous individual talents that Utah is going to face this season, especially behind an experienced offensive line. So keeping an eye on Ollie Gordon and his production. They had a tough game against Arkansas, which, again, Big 12 victorious over SEC is something that we should all be rooting for every single time. Ollie Gordon, 17 carries, 49 yards against Arkansas. So there's hope out there. And Arkansas is solid on the defensive front.
Yeah.
But not what Utah is on the defensive front.
The fighting Jaquindon Jacksons.
17 carries, 49. You know what JJ's numbers were in this game?
Insane.
24 carries, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Get you some, JJ.
Look, I know there's people out there who are mad that he moved on and he's at Arkansas instead. I'm not. He's rocking number 22 for his friends, and he's putting up big numbers for Arkansas, and he's cashing checks, and he's nearby his family. And a guy who was a third-string quarterback a year and a half ago is now going to be at least getting his cup of coffee as an NFL running back.
Yeah, good for you, JJ. I mean, what more do you want? And, I mean, he's like you said, he's paying homage to his guys publicly out there. Like, it's a great story, in my opinion.
I think it's great. You can't for me, with the modern era of college football, and it's just like the pros, you don't love someone as a player when they're on the 49ers, and then as soon as free agency or a trade takes them to play for, like, I don't know, the Ravens, you're not like, oh, I hate that guy now.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
No.
Maybe you don't love him as much when he's in a different uniform, and you're not rooting for Jaquindon Jackson to be successful if Arkansas has to play Utah in a playoff or a bowl game, but you're still hopefully like, yeah, do your thing, man.
Can I tell you a number that stood out to me?
Yeah.
Passing yards allowed per game through week 2, Utah, 93. I like that.
That's a good number.
It's a great number.
That's an awesome number.
Because then from there it goes to, and this is looking at the West, right? But then from there it's Washington at 113. And then rush yards allowed per game through week 2, Utah, 93.5.
Yeah, Utah right now in the Big 12 conference, you look at that and you're like, oh, that's not bad at all. 93.5. They're 6th in the conference. So you got to take it with a grain of salt through 2 weeks always. But that's a good number. You want to be less than 100 yards a game.
Yes.
If you're Utah, right? 93.5 a game. Arizona State, UCF, Kansas, TCU, Kansas State, all better than that. But again, pay attention to who you're beating, how you're beating them. For Arizona State, it's Wyoming and Mississippi State. And you've held those two teams to a combined 32 yards a game average. What?
Yeah, that's bananas.
I cannot even explain what's going on with Arizona State right now. I probably need to sit down in a quiet room and watch both of those games that they've played, like undivided attention, because obviously when I'm looking at Arizona State, I'm flipping through channels, I'm catching highlights, things like that. What are they doing? I'm happy for Kenny Dillingham. He's awesome. He also makes me uncomfortable because he's like a 34-year-old head coach, and I don't like that.
So he's overachieving, so it makes you uncomfortable?
It's really cool to see, but also not that cool because don't make it weird.
So you hate Sean McVay. Cool, noted. Points allowed also per game through week 2 for Utah, 6.
I like that. That's a good number.
I'm trying to stay positive here, Sean.
No, look, there's a lot of reasons to be positive. I put out a Twitter poll. If Cam Rising is available, do you play him
No.
against Utah State?
No.
And the options I put on the poll
Or
were
no and no.
rest him, play him, or play him for like a half. Use him, but don't make it serious.
I would absolutely not use him at all whatsoever.
Okay, so we know how you vote on the poll. We'll get to how everyone else voted on the poll here in just a minute on the Sean O'Connell Show. Before we do that, I cannot tell you how much Advanced Window Products is the right decision for you if you're remodeling your house, if you're making improvements on your house, if the windows, which are going to become a problem that you actually notice once the weather gets cold. I know in the heat it's less urgent for you, but I drove up in the mountains yesterday. We went up to Pineview. Leaves are changing up there. It is a matter of weeks before there's a crisp in the air, before you wake up on a cold morning, before you walk outside and you see your breath for the first time. Get on the schedule right now with Nate Orchard, with Jake, with everyone at Advanced Window Products, advancedwindows.com, 801-850-9100, $2,500 off, 10 windows or more. They have financing available, and most importantly, it is a one-stop shop. They build the windows, install the windows, service the windows, warranty the windows, all right here in Salt Lake City. You can drive down to the factory and ask them about it. They will take you through and show you how everything is done. They did that for me. It's a really impressive place. Advanced Windows and Advanced Window Products. Make sure you tell the mayor of Sac Lake City I said what's up. He's probably the one who's going to come out when the job's done and make sure it was done properly. He said he'll take a picture with you. 801-850-9100. Get on the schedule today because winter is coming, and it takes usually about 8 weeks from when you order to when the windows are installed. Don't waste time. 801-850-9100, Advanced Window Products.
Are you worried about the TV time, by the way, for Oklahoma State?
You know what? We'll talk about the TV time. I'm not worried ever about what time a game is played.
Same.
Because you know what Kyle Whittingham says to all that stuff? Who cares?
Yeah. That's pseudoscience as far as Kyle's concerned.
We'll talk about that and your poll results when we return on the Sean O'Connell Show. It's ESPN.
Freshman Zamiah Vaughn matched up on Drake London right now. Let's see if they go his way. Turn and a give. Ingram. Oh, he's got the next. Make it Darwin Barlow, second level. And all the way down to the Utah 26-yard line. That's going to be another USC first down. He needed 6. He picked up 7. And they've got another good drive going here just outside the red zone at the 26-yard line.
Yeah, and all this is it's just kind of nickel and dime you, and this is where Keaton Slovis is at his best, and Utah's just got to play this a little bit more stout on these throws.
Vaughn matched up again with Drake London. Here's that area of the field where they like to throw jump balls to him. They'll shade a safety his way on 1st and 10 from the Utah 26-yard line. Slovis going to look to the sideline now, change the play as he gets it in from Graham Harrell. Barlow moves to his right-hand side. Utah showing pressure, and here they come. Handoff Barlow into the hole, jump cut, just past the 25 and down to about the 22. They're pushing the pile. It's still going inside the 20 and all the way down to the 18-yard line. He was stopped at the 23, and they pushed him forward for 5 more yards. And that's going to be second down and short now for USC. They'll go with tempo now. No subs on the field. They'll snap the ball and hand it again to Barlow straight ahead to the 15, down to the 14-yard line, and that's good for a first down. And they're in the red zone now and in business as USC, and they're not subbing here. They're going with tempo. Utah having to shuffle guys in and out pretty quickly here. As Slovis doesn't huddle up, he just looks to the sideline. First down and 10 USC. Clock running, 5:37 to play here in the first quarter. Scoreless for now. SC threatening right now. Barlow in the backfield. Tight end and 3 wide receivers here for USC. Now they shift into the pistol formation. Slovis now changing the play, turns around and tells Barlow. Takes the snap, turns and gives. Barlow straight ahead to the 10 and falls down right there after a 4-yard gain. Boy, if he kept his footing there, he might still be running.
Well, Utah's gone to a 3-man front. So they're like a 3-3, 3 linemen, 3 linebackers, and they had Devin Lloyd as an end. So it's kind of that, it was kind of what BYU did against Utah early on in the season. And it's kind of designed to, stop the run but also stop the pass, but it's more susceptible to the run.
Keep an eye on the jump ball to London here. First to make it second down from the 10-yard line of Utah. Slovis moves a man in motion across the formation. Takes the snap and drops to pass. Looking toward the corner of the end zone. Throws in the flat to Washington instead, and he's wrapped up and taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Nephi Sewell from his linebacker spot came up and made the stop on Taj Washington. That's going to bring up third down, and we'll call it about 8.
Yeah, great read here. This is it's just a designed kind of screen here out to Washington, but well read and well reacted by Nephi Sewell. Good to see him back healthy again.
Trojans are 1 out of 2 on third down here in the first quarter. Clock running at 4:10 to play here in the first quarter today here at the Coliseum. From the Utah 11-yard line, Slovis lines up 3 receivers right and 1 receiver. That's Drake London to the left. They'll shade a safety over to help. Barlow in the backfield. Slovis wants the snap, takes it, backpedals, pumps once, looking, pressure in his face, throws, incomplete, broken up, nearly intercepted by Utah. They were looking for Gary Bryant, and the pressure right up the middle came from Vimahi. Akeli Vimahi got right in the face of Keaton Slovis and forced the incompletion. That'll bring out the field goal team here for USC.
Yeah, very, very well done up front. I mean, that wasn't a pressure throw there, but a nice job. And of course, Reed also came in and knocked that ball out.
Here's a field goal attempt. Parker Lewis hasn't missed this year. He's 9 for 9. This will be a 28-yard field goal inside the left hash. Kick is up, and the kick is good. Parker Lewis can't lose. And that's a field goal. 3:48 to play here in the first quarter. USC leads it 3-0. 12 plays, 53 yards, 5:15 off the clock. The only incompletion for Slovis was on that last pass breakup on third down. He was 5 of 6, but just for 29 yards, Scott. That's a win. If you hold USC to field goals, that's a win.
No question about it, especially with a player like Drake London down there you can throw that jump ball to and get those touchdowns, and Utah did a nice job. Bend but don't break. Whoa.
Kickoff is short and rolling and hopping over the head of Britton Covey into the end zone and out the back of the end zone for a touchback. That was an interesting look by USC. Britton Covey needed to.
In the end zone, untouched by the receiving team.
The poll question is out. Cam Rising's available, but less than 100% versus Utah State. What do you do? Play him, rest him for next week, or play him a half? 54% of the votes coming in on rest him for next week. 26% on play him a half. 20% of people want you to play him, even if he's just like, okay. And look, Scott Mitchell laid out some reasons why Cam needs some reps too, some live game reps. So that will be considered, I think, but I could see this team resting him. There's a lot of double benefits here. You're 21.5-point favorites against Utah State, even with the knowledge that Cam Rising is questionable for now.
Yeah, that's the updated line, right?
That's the most recent line. That's today's line.
Yeah,
now,
don't play him.
There's no real injury reports for Vegas to make these lines based on, so things can get wonky there. But play him, rest him. Play him a half. Also, you asked me about the kickoff time. 2 o'clock local.
2 p.m. local.
3 p.m.
Oklahoma
Central,
time. Yeah.
Oklahoma time. And obviously that's a road game. Look.
Are you going?
No.
Oh, that's a shame. I wanted to party with you in Stillwater.
I would like to. If here's a way for I could make it happen, right? Because I've been traveling a lot for fights.
Right.
And I can't just tell my wife, hey, now I'm going to go travel to go watch a football game that I don't technically have to be at. But my parents live in Oklahoma, an hour away. So I could take the kids, drop them off with my parents. They're happy because now they get to see the grandkids. And then I just show up in Stillwater, and here we are.
Conspiracy theorist here, sidebar. Why don't you tell the wife that you're helping Alonzo with the broadcast, and you got to be there?
Because then she'll listen to the broadcast and not hear me at all and just be like, you weren't helping Alonzo.
But here's the thing.
Alonzo doesn't need you.
They don't hear me on the broadcast either.
Yeah, but my wife knows enough about me to know that I can't help you in any way.
I know that about you too, but that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. All right, keep the votes coming in at Real OC Sports. We take a quick one here. The pig farmer, Bryson Barnes, now a Utah State quarterback, formerly a Ute quarterback. That's a weird dynamic. He joins us next on the Sean O'Connell Show, ESPN 700.
Devon Vele splits wide to the right-hand side on 1st and 10. 3 tight ends here for Utah. Vele, the lone receiver. He has man coverage to the outside. Would Rising take a shot? Now they're going to shift around and move everybody to the outside now. He's back in the gun. Pledger next to him. First down and 10. Cam to pass. Stepping, looking, throwing long. He's got a man in the end zone open and just missed him, but we're going to have pass interference. Brant Keithy got tackled in the end zone, and that's going to be pass interference on USC.
Pass interference. The 21 of the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
Maybe we started a trend here, Bill, and that, hey, let's just throw it down the field now. Why not?
Scott, was he going for Keithy or was he going for
Keithy.
Vele?
No, it was Keithy. Oh, yeah, clearly it's
Vele almost came up with the play anyway. First and 10, Utah. Second trip today into the University Credit Union red zone, and they'll have it first and 10 at the USC 15-yard line. Covey wide right, Vele to the left, two tight ends in Pledger. Cam goes under center. Rising, turns, and gives it to T.J. Pledger. Into the hole goes Pledger. On his feet, pushing the pile. He'll get to about the 12-yard line and pick up 3 yards. Raymond Scott, the Rover linebacker, who's had a big first half here, in place of Raylan Goforth, who will play in the second half. Made the tackle, second down, and we'll call it 7 from the 12.
Yeah, I really like that, and just little play action and throw the ball to a tight end right over the middle. USC is so aggressive coming in to stop that run of Utah.
Tight end to the right, Fotheringham. Tight end to the left, Kincaid. Now they move Kincaid to the right-hand side. Second down and 7. Covey in motion. They'll turn and give it in a roll. Into the end zone, fired, caught, touchdown! Touchdown! Money Parks, 4-6. His first career catch is a touchdown for Utah.
Hey, if you're going to start, you might as well start big, right? But a great throw, great play action here. I love this call. Just that Utah's really sold out on the run here. But he's got outside. He makes a nice move to the inside. I mean, it's a great catch there, getting his feet down. Perfect execution. Oh boy, that gets me so excited.
Montaran Money Parks for 6. A Pepsi touchdown, and the PAT is up, and the PAT is good, but we've got a flag down, and we may have motion up front on Utah.
I think it's defensive offsides.
It is defensive offsides. You're right.
Offside. For 23, the defense. Penalties decline. Try is successful.
Scott, they needed to answer, and did they ever? 5 plays, 75 yards, 2:05 off the game clock. Rising was 2 for 2 for 50 yards, and Montaran Money Parks with his first career catch, and it's a touchdown.
But you look at what happened to Cam Rising there. He completes that big third down, throwing the ball down the field, and all of a sudden he starts to get confidence. And then you take a shot with Keithy down the field, and he made another good throw. It was just pass interference. But that out route on the goal line, one of the harder throws you have to make as a quarterback, and just to put it right on the money. And a great route by Parks. I mean, it was just, that's just good to see. And that now puts lots of doubt in USC's mind defensively, because now they know Utah can throw the ball along with running it.
Boy, oh boy, and they're throwing it to wide receivers here today, too. How about that? Theo Howard and Money Parks getting some catches. A lot of time here if Utah's defense could get a stop. Utah's got all 3 timeouts left. Noise is ready. And the proud papa of 3 puts his right foot into it and drives it, and that's going to be taken by Nixon as he backs into the end zone, takes a knee, and that'll be a touchback at the 25-yard line. So the Utah defense got a little bit of a rest there. Not a long rest, but you know what, Scott? 2.5 minutes is a good rest, especially when you know your offense just scored some points.
Yeah, it's rest and you get rejuvenated. It's almost like taking an energy drink on the sideline when your offense does what it did right there and actually scores points. It just changes the whole energy of the team. USC now, they're not gonna run the ball anymore. They're gonna come out and they're gonna try to throw it.
I told you they don't stay committed to the run at USC. It's a typical air raid team. They run because, well, they kind of have to from time to time. 7 in the box here for Utah on 1st and 10. Slovis throws it out in the flat, nearly intercepted. Oh, it would have been a pick 6. They get it complete to London instead, and Drake London picks up 9 to the 34. And now we got a flag behind the play. That might be another flag on Utah for extracurricular stuff. Oh, my God.
Welcome to hour number 3 on the Sean O'Connell Show, and welcome in Former Utah quarterback, current Utah State quarterback, Bryson Barnes. One of my all-time favorite stories in college football ever. Bryson, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, John. How you doing?
Doing great. Glad to talk to you. There's probably a more professional way to ask a question like this, but I'm not good at my job, so I'm going to ask you this way. How weird is it that you're going to be playing in an Aggie uniform against the Utes instead of for the Utes when last year you were a Utes quarterback?
Yeah, it is going to be weird. I mean, I spent the first, 3.5 years there, and so I've definitely developed a lot of relationships with the guys that are still there on the team, and it's definitely going to be weird because, I mean, I've had to face the defense all the time, but I've never had to face them in an actual game environment, and so yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting experience.
How much do you look forward to it? Because, look, you do have good relationships. People don't realize, I think, players, you're friends forever once you're on a team together. So it's like these guys want to they want to beat you on Saturday, but you're still friends with a lot of these guys. How much do you look forward to competing against them for real? Because you probably talked a little trash in practice every now and again, but this one is for stuff that matters. That's the sound of us losing Bryson Barnes. I know that sound, and I'm sure he was about to give us a profound answer. So we're gonna get him back momentarily.
I heard the sound in my ears. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, I'm glad the technology these days at least informs us when it's gonna crap out on us.
Call failed when you look at your phone.
Gives like
conversation.
A little, that would be better if it was that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I appreciate the digital warning there. We'll get Bryson Barnes back here in just a second. Look, he is, I think, going to start against the University of Utah. We'll get to that question with him as well. We don't know because it's no longer advantageous for anyone to give us information like that. All right, do we have him back? Sounds like we got him back. Bryson, you there? Maybe. Not yet. Bryson, you got me?
Yes, the call dropped. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Right as you were about to start your answer, we just got the whomp. So how much you looking forward to compete? Like, is this going to be fun for you?
No, yeah, it's absolutely going to be fun. And, like, at the end of the day, like, we're both out there trying to win. And so regardless of what happens on that field, like, those guys are going to continue to be my brothers. Like, we're all just trying to go out there, do a job, and win a football game. And so the relationships still are going to last there, even though we are playing against each other. And, no, I'm just excited for the opportunity to play against those guys. I think it's going to be a blast. So
let's talk a little bit about your season so far. Obviously, you came in and helped the team beat Robert Morris. And, by the way, Alonzo and I were talking about this. Alonzo's my producer. When's the last time you ran a 40? Like, what's your 40 time? Because you were scooting on that 63-yarder.
I timed my 40 one time, and that was when I was at Utah. I want to say we ran them in, like, 2022. It was a 4.59, but all that was hand time, so I don't know whether I'm slower or faster or this, that, and the other. But I don't know. All I do know is I did feel kind of fast on that run. You
looked fast on that run, better than 4.59. I'm going to use my scientific analysis to say that was better than 4.59. But let's look. You go up there to Utah State for an opportunity, and the opportunity comes not in the way that you wanted it to, I'm sure, but you got out there. You helped your team win the first game, and then Utah State has to play against USC, and that was a completely different USC team. So what was that experience like against the Trojans and a completely different look of that Trojans defense?
No, yeah, kind of like when we were coming into that game against USC, we definitely saw like the talent they have, but not just what they had, because they had a lot of talent last year, but it was just how they were in the right spots against LSU. Whereas last year you were kind of able to take advantage of just kind of misfits and misalignments, missed assignments, just different things like that last year that you'd be able to kind of expound upon and take advantage of. Whereas this year, those really did not come for us. We weren't able to exploit those as well as we wanted to. And at the end of the day, like watching the film back, when we were all doing what we were supposed to and paying attention just to the little details of our assignments, we moved the ball when we wanted to. And the times that we didn't move the ball was when we were having mental errors, little busts, and not executing the details that we were executing when we were moving the ball.
Because you had experience against USC, and look, not a lot of guys at Utah State have played a team like that, have played against the athletes that, like you said, USC has always had those guys, even when they're not executing and they're not firing on all cylinders. They've always had those guys. Were you able to convey some of what those expectations are, again, to the teammates who haven't played against a team like USC? Were you able to help people be ready for it?
Yeah, I feel like, my experience in playing in games like that is kind of bringing a lot of the guys to like a realization that like they're just players at the end of the day. Everybody, they wake up, they put their socks and shoes on, they go to work every single day just like we do. And just because they're at USC, whether you're Utah State, or whether you're at Robert Morris, like it doesn't matter. Everybody gets at the beginning of the day, they wake up and get out of bed just like we do. They come here and they go to work just like we do. There's not that much of a difference. And so it's just kind of like calming their nerves and not feeling like these guys that go to these bigger schools, they just own the world, when in reality, we're all just college football players just trying to do a job.
Utah State quarterback Bryson Barnes, my guest here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Utah State hosts Utah this coming Saturday. We'll have the coverage right here on ESPN 700 with Bill Riley, Scott Mitchell, Stevenson Sylvester on the call. Now that you have to play against your former team and you have to scout them for real, you have to watch film on them and be like, all right, where is Utah most dangerous on film this year?
From a defensive perspective, your D-line's always good. I'm excited to play against just those guys in general. But then, you got Karene and Lander in the middle. Like, those are two great players, great instinctual linebackers. And I really feel like that's really the strength of their team. And that's pretty much how it's been throughout in the past. It was just those guys up front and those linebackers that we've always had, like just really good players. And so, yeah, I do feel like that's where their strength's at.
When you look at, I guess, evading that pass rush, or you look at trying to defeat those areas of strength, do you guys, and you personally, you feel like you have what you need to try and kind of exploit some of those weaknesses if you find them?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I feel like last week, our O-line did a really good job of protecting against probably one of the best D-line I've ever had to face. Like, those guys were extremely athletic up front, big on the edges, and they were still kind of they had a couple plays they stonewalled USC's D-line. And so, I feel like we're Utah, where they have their strengths, we also have our strengths, and relying on just the offensive unit in general and, just playing to what we're good at, and then also taking advantage of where we feel like the weaknesses in the defense are.
This happens every time with us talking heads where, there'll be a coach who last year was at a certain place, a player who was at a certain place, and then you say, oh, well, they know this team better, or they have this advantage because he was there, or this coach knows the signals, which are no longer a thing, I guess, anymore. But
yeah.
on game day, Bryson, does it actually make a difference that, you have the familiarity that you do? Can you help your defense because you know Andy Ludwig's system, et cetera?
Yeah, I definitely think there is advantages. I was there 3 years. I played against this defense for – you practice 75% of the year. You spend a large majority of your life in college football practicing, and, that was spent against our defense. And so, there is definitely advantages there. And then obviously when you're in a system for 3 years, you get to learn the ins and outs of it. And so there's definitely advantages on both sides of me being there for a while. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to know what they're coming in with the game plan with. This is also there's a lot of new faces that I wasn't able to play with last year with Brant. Landon King's got another year coming in with their offensive unit, Dorian Singer. And so, there's definitely different faces that I wasn't able to play with last year from an offensive perspective, but then also on defense. You don't have Baki and Cole Bishop in the back end. And, Jonah's gone. Miles Battle's gone as well from the defensive side. Like, there are some things that translate into what I can remember, but at the same time, like, this is a different Utah football team. This is the 2024 Utes, not the 2023, not the 2021. And so at the end of the day, you just got to take this preparation just as serious as you would any other week. And I like to kind of come into it acting like I don't know anything, and then watch the film and then just kind of strengthen what I did know before, and then also things that possibly I didn't know beforehand.
Bryson Barnes for a few more minutes, quarterbacking Utah State now. I guess this is more of a big picture question, but I too, in my college career, was a transfer player. It was much different circumstances. I went from Utah to Weber State, and obviously that's a much larger step, down. Utah State, it's a good, high-quality Mountain West team. Obviously, they've got great facilities up there. What has been, I guess, the biggest difference since you've gone from a Pac-12 Utah, they're now in the Big 12, obviously, to a Mountain West Utah State? What's been the most noticeable everyday difference for you, if there is one?
It's hard to say because, I feel like when I came in, obviously it's the off season, but the last time I was in an off season at Utah would have been 8-9 months prior to that, and so sometimes you see differences. I would say an operation standpoint about how they run things as a program, you definitely see the differences there because you're going from two different programs, two different head coaches are going to run things differently, and I feel like maybe that was one of the biggest adjustments was how they ran the program just in general, whether that came to the runs, the meetings, the practices, just little things like that you wouldn't think you'd realize were different until you were in it.
You also go to Logan in kind of a weird time because we know what happened with, the coach and people in the athletic department all being separated from their duties, and Coach Dryling's got to step up, and that's a time of disarray for any program. And now you're also a quarterback playing the most important position on the field in that scenario. But again, you're a guy with some experience and you've overcome some adversity, and you're a great story who started off, on the bottom end of things and ended up playing in a Rose Bowl. Did your experience, building yourself that way help you to kind of calm the waters up in Logan when all that stuff was happening?
Yeah, I definitely feel like everything that I have experienced the last 3.5 years at Utah has prepared me for the situations that I've had up here at Utah State. Just as far as adversity goes, and maybe things not going the way that you wanted them to go when I was at Utah, just learning that what I can control is myself and what I'm doing each and every day, and that's what's going to translate. And that was my mindset when I was down at Utah. So when I come up here and things are kind of going crazy, coaches are leaving, this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, what I could control was myself and what I was doing each and every day. And so I would 100% agree that, my experience at Utah the last 3.5 years has helped me and prepared me for the situation that I was faced with up here.
Are there pig farmer shirts in the Aggie bookstore?
I don't think so.
How many people that you know own one of those pig farmer shirts that we have? I mean, there probably still a couple on the clearance rack in the Utah bookstore. How many people that you know have come to you with one of those or asked you to sign one? How many people?
I mean, I've had a lot. I know quite a bit of people that they get the T-shirt, but it's almost kind of it's funny that at the same time they want to do it to support me. And I've yes, you saw. I can't give a number attached to that, but I have done before. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That whole thing, we use it as an endearing term, right? That's my pig farmer. That's the pig farmer. Because it's a wonderful story. Do you appreciate when because it could be construed, I guess, the wrong way and be like, this kid's not a quarterback, he's a pig farmer. I think that the Utah fan base used it endearingly. I imagine that the Aggie fan base does as well. But do you like that when people address you that way or when they refer to you that way?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of what has come with it. And then also, I'm not ashamed to talk about where I came from, That's kind of what we did in the small towns, It was blue collar, get your hands dirty type of work. And so at the end of the day, pig farming, that's just what we did. That's who we are. And so definitely not ashamed of it by any means. And people can use it how you want, but at the same time, I'm a pig farmer, but I'm also a quarterback. And so there's definitely two sides to it. But no, I don't take it kind of the wrong way when people refer to me as a pig farmer.
Okay, that's good. I would stop doing it if you told me yourself that, hey, I don't like when people call me pig farmer. When I say pig farmer, I think I'm using it the right way. I'm like, this is a dude who came from, a small town and built himself into a starting quarterback. And you are going to be the starting quarterback this week, right?
As far as we know, to the information I have today, yeah.
All right. Okay. I know you're not supposed to talk about availability and injury and who's starting and things like that, but I I tried to trick you into giving me a definitive answer there. You're too wise. You're too wise for that, Bryson.
Fine for the Utes, you Salt Lake bugger.
Yeah, well, that's just, we are the home of the Utes. Listen, it's been awesome to watch your story, to watch your career. Because you're in an Aggie uniform now doesn't change that. So stay healthy this weekend. Good luck. Obviously, we're rooting for you to have the best of things. Maybe not in this particular game, but beyond that, certainly. So thanks for your time today. Appreciate you.
Yep, thanks for having me as well.
That is Bryson Barnes, quarterback at Utah State. Look, unabashedly, absolutely love that kid. He is such a great story. He is such a great example of, even in the modern era of college football, how you maximize opportunities coming from a 1A school, coming from a pig farm, and ending up where he's at now. And look, it's still not perfect. It's still not storybook. But one of my favorite things about Bryson Barnes is he doesn't require it to be perfect or require it to be storybook in order for it to have value for him. It's great.
Did you buy one of those shirts?
Yeah, I have a pig farmer shirt at the house.
Same, I bought one too to support Mr. Barnes. It's
Yeah,
a great story, dude.
Get a little NIL going on, yeah.
Like, no matter how you look at it, it's just one of those. And in my opinion, no story is perfect. Doesn't matter who the athlete is, but it's still such a good story.
And by the way, we get real spoiled because you have a guy like Cam Rising come through, and Cam is so calm under pressure and handles everything so well, and did things sometimes damn near perfect in this Andy Ludwig offense. And so people got to a point where, like, that's the level of execution you expect, whether it's Isaac Wilson or it's Bryson Barnes. And then we get to this point where we're like, we don't really accept the idea that you're going to have to swallow some drop off. And Bryson Barnes did some great things when he was given the opportunity at Utah, and he's been doing some great things when he's been given the opportunity at Utah State. They ran into a USC buzzsaw. I like to talk trash on USC because we all do here in the state. That's a good team this year.
Yeah.
And Danton Lynn, I worried about this. I expected this. He's an unbelievable defensive coach, and I've beat the drum for years. Talent is never the problem at USC. I thought that when they fixed that, they could be formidable on that side of the ball, and so far they have been. Bryson, not because of bad decisions. We heard Scott Mitchell talking about it as well. Not because of bad decisions or really serious errors on his part. Just they had 100 yards passing last week. Couldn't get anything going, the Aggies. They're not in a great place personnel-wise.
Right.
I mean, one of their best players is now a backup in Utah's defensive end group. Paul Fitzgerald is one of the Aggies' best players from a season ago.
Well, and this, not to throw, because obviously these airwaves don't like any USC positivity, but USC could also have a special season this year. With the way that they're playing, they're a problem.
Miller Moss is an awesome quarterback. I know that you expect when a Heisman Trophy winner departs the program.
Generational talent departs the program.
It's Caleb Williams isn't there anymore. Miller Moss plays quarterback like within the system.
Yeah.
At the same level or at a higher level than Caleb Williams. He's not going to create and do the backyard football thing at that same level. He's not nearly the athlete. He doesn't have the lower body strength that Caleb Williams had to, stay upright through contact. But Miller Moss his arm talent is outrageous. And you saw that in the bowl game last year, and you're seeing it so far.
I think often about one of the best NIL deals ever, and it's the Bryson Barnes Pig Farmers Association NIL deal.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Elite.
There's nothing better. There's nothing better. The only thing that could have made this whole Bryson Barnes story better is if he had transferred to Iowa to be the quarterback there, because their offensive line is basically all pigs.
Yeah, it's all pork.
And they're all sponsored. Their offensive line is like sponsored by like the Iowa Pork Council or something.
Yeah. That's why I say all pork, because I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
So Bryson Barnes, and of course Iowa has more pigs than people. Bryson Barnes would have been well at home there.
And the other thing I often think about is the first Rose Bowl game, that touchdown pass in the clutch.
Dude, can you imagine walking into a Rose Bowl? The broadcast team didn't know who he was.
Correct. I remember that too. I'm watching it on the TV.
They were like, and coming into the game is, okay, looking at the roster, like he's not on the spotting board.
Yeah. 3 doors down from our booth, they had no idea what was happening.
It's Bryson Barnes from 1A Milford High School. And by the way, like, then you immediately demand, I did at least, give it more context. Let people know what that means.
Yeah.
Let people know who Bryson Barnes is, where he came from. Do it now on the Rose Bowl stage. Look at that. He just threw a touchdown pass. Oh, my gosh. It was like, what a moment. And that will live for me forever as one of the great Utah football stories.
Yes.
I know that it's not the ending people wanted it to be, but I will be rooting for Bryson Barnes to be massively successful in whatever endeavor he pursues for the rest of his life. I'm so impressed. So impressed with the kid. A reminder to all of you golf fans out there, and I know Alonzo's a big one. He's really hurting because he's got a bum hand right now and he can't swing the sticks. October 9th through 13th, Black Desert Resort in St. George. The Black Desert Championship marks the return of PGA Tour golf to Utah for the first time in more than 60 years. Tickets are available, blackdesertevents.com. Follow them on social at Black Desert Championship. Ground passes, VIP daily tickets. It's all available. Take a little tour, run around Zion while you're down there. The PGA Tour is returning to Utah, first time in 6 decades at the Black Desert Championship. Go pick up your tickets. Tell them OC sent you. And by the way, if you're wondering, how do I get the tickets shipped safely to my house? How do I make sure that they end up in the right spot? When I pick up those souvenirs to send to my grandpa who loves golf, how do I get them there the right way? Only one answer, Postnet. My friends at Postnet in Draper, North Salt Lake, Spanish Fork, West Valley, they will take care of your shipping, packaging, printing needs in a way that nobody else does because they actually care. Customer service still means something. It's a new school business with an old school mentality, and they've got virtual mail as well. Ask them about virtual mail if they can set that up for you. You can manage your physical mail electronically. So they marry email with your physical mail, and it works out swimmingly, whether it's for your residence, for your business, or anything else. Postnet.com, Draper, North Salt Lake, Spanish Fork, West Valley. If you go down to Draper, pet the dogs and tell them that I said hello. Any store with dogs in the location, they get my business. Plenty left to get to on the Sean O'Connell Show. Big thanks to Bryson Barnes for joining us. I teased this earlier. We didn't actually get to it. Is the Big 12 even deeper than we thought it was going to be in 2024? We only have 2 weekends of football, but the sample size is starting to take shape, and this is a deep conference. It's your home of the Utes and the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700.
That one was just kind of wanky from the beginning. So 30 seconds. Utah still with 2 full timeouts. And 2nd down and 10 at the USC 46-yard line.
Yeah, I don't know that I wouldn't not take another shot here with a wide receiver on the outside, because the way USC's playing their defense, they have the corners rolled up at the line of scrimmage, but those safeties are kind of not getting in their deep half coverage, and that throw again is open that they threw to Theo Howard earlier.
Devon Vele is awfully athletic and awfully fast. 3 wide look, now 4 wide look, with Mekhi Bernard in the backfield on 2nd down and 10. Rising, takes and gives and keeps and goes straight ahead and picks up nothing. That lost half a yard. Wow. Utah takes a timeout. Wow. Wow is right. So Utah has a 3rd and about 10.5 here. 1 timeout remaining from the SC 47-yard line. They're 2 of 4 on third down here in the first half. 2 receivers left, 2 receivers right. TJ Pledger, the back of the backfield here. SC's going to rush just 4. Let's see if Utah can give Cam Rising some time. Here we go. Lots of time. Now scrambles and throws over the middle. He's got Pledger. TJ still on his feet, down to about the 36-yard line, right at first down yardage. 4th and half a yard. Not even half a yard here for Utah. Really, the length of the football is what they need. They're at about the 36. And in a football, they need just the 36. 17 seconds before halftime. Utah leading at 14-10. No timeouts remaining here for Utah. Cam Rising, TJ Pledger.
I don't like the shotgun in this situation.
You take a shot down the field here, Scott. No safety over the top right now on a pass play. Rising. And what do we have? Timeout taken by SC.
Oh.
Their last timeout. 17 seconds, Scott. SC now uses their last timeout. Would you dare fake the dive, fake the handoff, fake the fly sweep, and take a shot down the field with, and Devon Vele is your most athletic wide receiver. Maybe you give him a shot.
I mean, you could possibly do this. The question is, let's say you get the first down and you're at about the 35-yard line. Can you kick a field goal? So the question, I think, is which one do you feel more likely to get, a long field goal or a 50-50 shot in the end zone?
So Vele splits wide to the right, Covey in the left slot. 4th and half a yard here. Now SC backs the safety out a little bit. 7 in the box. 4th and half a yard, Covey in motion. Handoff, nope, play action. Flea flicker down the middle. He's got a man open in the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown, Devon Vele! They use the flea flicker for 6 and a Utah touchdown!
I'll tell you, for a team that likes to run the ball a lot, they're sure throwing the heck out of it here tonight.
What a pass, and Vele behind the defense for 6. Devon Vele's first Utah touchdown. What a spot for it. The San Diego native got himself behind the safety, and Cam Rising put it on the money. And with 10 seconds remaining here in the half, Utah 21 and USC 10. The only thing I would say coming out of the locker room, USC really in a position now where they've got nothing to lose. Season's in the balance. If I'm Utah on special teams right now, I'm keeping my eyes open here for an onside kick, because when you're playing with nothing to lose, the coach knows he's not likely going to be the guy next year. SC's down 11. They've got to do something to shake it up. I'd keep an eye on it right here, and I think Utah is. They've got a lot of guys up right now. Parker Lewis has it teed up at his own 35-yard line now. Utah with 6 up within about 15 yards of the ball. Lewis approaches, puts his right foot into it, and he'll kick it deep and away. Covey's going to back up and catch it 5 yards deep. Call it a touchback, and Utah will begin 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Well, the recipe to beat Utah or to beat USC this year has
Salt Lake Bees season is winding down at Smith's Ballpark. Text Bees to 33986 to win a pair of tickets to the Bees home games. Last homestand of the season starts next Tuesday. Last homestand at Smith's Ballpark.
I hit up the homie Tony Parks. I'm going to a game next week before I head to Stillwater. I have to.
That's the right thing to do.
It's the move. Pour one out on the field. Say goodbye to Smith's Ballpark.
For real, like I need like a professional photographer to accompany me and take some melancholy shots of me standing at different places throughout the stadium.
Call it the sadness of OC.
Just the sadness.
Just various parts of the stadium.
I tell you what, however many years I've been going, that's decades of fun at one particular place.
Yeah.
And then it goes away.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. And it's a beautiful park. The people who have worked there have just made it a really great place. And I'll be sad to see it go when it goes.
I'm really looking forward to the picture of you somberly in front of the Dippin' Dot stand.
Just one tear tracing itself down my cheek.
As you eat some Dippin' Dots.
No more cookies and cream.
No more cookies and cream, R.I.P. That's what you need to pour out, some Dippin' Dots. Since you don't drink, you don't partake.
That's right.
Pour out some Dippin' Dots.
That would be an appropriate one for me to pour out.
Yes, it would.
because it's meaningful to me individually. Thanks for giving me that idea.
I do what I can, Sean, as
All
a
right.
producer.
How deep is the Big 12 conference? We're going to try to answer this question like every week, but the sample size is still small. I don't think anyone has emerged as a conference championship contender that we didn't already talk about as a conference championship contender. Still, you've got, what is this? You got 10 teams that are undefeated in the conference right now? No. You got 9 teams that are undefeated in conference right now. Utes are 2-0. Wildcats are 2-0. The Arizona State Sun Devils, I'm not ready to call them a conference championship contender, but I did not even have them in the category of, hey, you're going to spoil some people's fun. You're going to cause problems for everyone. We're going to circle that game on the schedule and worry about you. I had them well below that threshold. They're going to start the season. Arizona State is going to start the season, Alonzo, 4-0, probably. They've got Texas State this week. They've got Texas Tech, who is a lot worse than I thought they were going to be. And then they've got Kansas and Utah, and that's where we'll find out a little bit more about them. But Arizona State has at least graduated into you could be problematic for other teams. BYU is in a situation where I kept telling you, they've got more weapons than you think. Their running back room is better than you think it is. Kalani Sitake just reported to the media in complete disregard for the typical fashion of how head coaches handle things. He said that L.J. Martin and Hinckley Rapazzi are doubtful for this week. Those are like your 2 best running backs. Your starting, your co-starters effectively for BYU. That ain't good.
Were you surprised that BYU? I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but that they were able to kind of keep it close with SMU. Did that surprise you any?
You mean, am I surprised that they struggled with SMU?
Well, yes. I was trying to be diplomatic, but all right.
Yeah, I appreciate you trying to be diplomatic. Ish. Again, SMU is one of those teams that can sneak up on you and hurt you because of their athleticism. I didn't think that BYU was going to eke this one out. I thought that they would be, a 2-score favorite in this game, or I thought they'd win by 2 scores in this game. So BYU, I'm still kind of TBD on how good they are or what they're going to be, but I thought they were going to be better. We find out a lot about Kansas State and Arizona both this week because they start conference play against one another.
Arizona State going 4-0 though, or I'm sorry, 4-0, 2-0 is surprising.
Arizona State going 2-0 right now is surprising. Starting 4-0, I don't know if there were lines on this, but if you could bet on Arizona State starting 4-0, and they probably are going to, I'm sure that you would have gotten a very favorable number on that.
Yeah.
And beyond that, like Kansas is probably going to beat them, Utah's probably going to beat them, but this is a good team. And we didn't think they were going to be a good team. I didn't think they were going to be a good team at all. The transfer portal robbed them of everyone I thought that was going to be like a sincere contributor for any kind of like upsets this year. Jalen Conyers is going to be an NFL player. He transferred. Guess where to? Texas Tech. Guess who's struggling right now and is in total disarray? Texas Tech. Barely eked by Abilene Christian. It's so strange how the transfer portal and how college football itself just works things out. How deep is the Big 12 conference? Unfortunately, it is equally as deep as the Pac-12, maybe more so, or probably just equal. And the reason I say unfortunately is because the Big 12's reputation and the Pac-12's reputation were so similar, and the Big 12's prospects for college football playoff inclusion were very similar to what the Pac-12s were. Whereas if the Pac-12 had participated in a 12-team format in an expanded college football playoff, the Pac-12 would have had teams in, a team in at least every single year. Ugh. But you're looking at a situation where now the Big 12 could cannibalize itself.
Oh no,
The
not
same
that
way,
word again.
the same way that the Pac-12 did. Dude, we have to confront this reality right now. And everyone, we did this in the Pac-12 too, by the way. Every single one of us, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, how many ranked teams are in the Pac-12 conference? I was on Pac-12 radio. You know how many times we took a little miniature victory lap? There's 6 ranked teams in the Pac-12 conference in the top 25. What week are we in? We're in week 4. Can you believe how wonderful this conference is in week 4? And then guess what would happen? Well, number 24 and number 18, who are conference opponents, they would play one another, and number 24 would win. And now number 18 is number 24, and number 24 is number 22. And then that number 18 team, who wasn't actually good enough to be the number 18 team, they start to drop off because other teams in the conference start to beat them. And all of a sudden you get to the end of the year, and you've got 4 teams still in the top 25, but none of them are in the top 10. And that's the risk that you run in this year's Big 12. Again, Utah cannot seem to find itself in a situation where, hey, we're going to just run a conference. We're just going to climb into this spot, and we're going to be better than everyone, and we're not going to get tested week in and week out. And I know you shouldn't wish for that, but there's just the thick through the middle thing is not good for the conference. It's fine for teams like Utah who are equipped to beat everybody if they need to be, but it's not good for the conference. Iowa State, ranked team right now. Kansas State, ranked team right now. I told you they're playing Arizona this week.
Also a ranked team.
Ranked. The Oklahoma, by the way, the refreshed AP poll, Utah 12, they dropped a spot.
Can I ask you about that?
If you want.
My brain can't process this. Maybe it's because, I don't know. Anyway, the fact that they dropped a spot doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, you got to remember AP polls are completely arbitrary.
Correct. So that's why I'm taking it as a grain of salt, but it still doesn't make any sense as to, for me, it's like, yeah, your quarterback is down. All the reporting is that the injury isn't as bad as it looked initially.
Uh-huh.
You still went out and beat Baylor.
Yes.
Why do you drop a spot? If anything, it should have remained status quo.
Well, you had to move Tennessee way up the board because they beat a ranked team in NC State.
Right.
And USC is a hell of a lot better than people thought they were going to be on the defensive side of the ball.
Agree with that.
And they still are called the USC Trojans. So they get to climb.
We had to drop Notre Dame.
You had to why'd you bring that up?
Because it happened. They had to be dropped.
Why'd you do that?
This is a sports
I wanted
show.
to make it through Monday without talking about Notre Dame choking away a win against Northern Illinois.
Big Husky guy now.
Deep breath. Miami is good this year.
Yes, they are.
So far. So when those things happen, who do you punish? Or who do you look at and say, all right, well, we can drop them a little bit? It's the Big 12 teams. It's Utah, who didn't demolish Baylor, right? It's something to talk about, but it's not going to matter at the end of the day.
Could be worse.
It all comes out in the wash.
You could be Jeff Schwartz, who is just, you could see it on Twitter in real time. My guy was going through it, watching that game.
So he's going to join us on the show tomorrow.
Right.
We're going to talk a lot of NFL, and I'm going to give him an opportunity. He'll take 3 minutes, and he'll tell me what the bleep is happening with the Oregon Ducks, because that's 2 times now that teams from Idaho have terrified you if you're a Ducks fan.
Idaho.
The University of Idaho, 24-14 victory for the Ducks. Boise State, you needed the last-second field goal. 37-34.
And both of them were home games, right?
You started the year in every person's top 5. Everybody was like, Oregon is competing for a national championship this year. They are one of the teams to beat in the Big Ten.
People were talking they're going to run through the Big Ten like it was nothing.
Except for Ohio State.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's Ohio State, Georgia. That's and then everyone else.
Dude, what about Texas? Texas looks really good.
Texas is good. No, Texas is looking good. But I still, bro, I don't know what Ryan Day is doing. Whatever.
I know what he's doing. He's paying a roster $22 million.
Well, yeah, I was going to say,
that's
whatever,
what he's doing.
Whatever they're doing to get that's inject that directly into my veins.
That's what Ryan Day's doing, is he's just like, well, we are a minor league pro team.
Yeah.
And I need this, and I need that, and I need this. And in Columbus, they're so desperate for a national championship again. They're like, okay, sure.
Yeah, since the sweater vest, they haven't won a chip.
That's not true. Urban.
Oh, Urban. Well, that doesn't. Whatever.
What do you mean it doesn't count?
Whatever.
What do you mean it doesn't count? Stop it. Look, this year's Pac-12 is gone. This year's Big 12, what I meant to say, this year's Big 12 is like the 2018-2019 Pac-12. And that is not good.
How many times did you guys have a clicker for saying the word cannibalizing?
We should have. We should have counted. That would have been a drinking game that would have poisoned you.
Oh, yes. Because, that's the one, like, it's good that the Big 12 is deep, right? It's good that the Big 12 is good, all that stuff. But it's not at the same time.
Like, again, the argument becomes this. What would you rather have? A conference where every week you have to tune in because you don't know who's going to win? Or would you rather have a conference where your top 4 teams are in the top 10 and everyone else is kind of like, who cares? And for me, as a football fan, my tendency has always been, give me the interesting conference. Give me the one that's thick through the middle. Give me the one where my best team can lose to my 8th best team. That just doesn't happen very often in the SEC.
No, it does not.
It doesn't happen very often in the Big Ten. It has, but it doesn't happen very often. That happened every damn year of the Pac-12 until its final, as it's the fish flopping on the shore, death throes, gasping for air. And finally, somebody made it all the way through the slate undefeated. And by the way, Washington somehow did that with 7 one-score games in the last 8.
Yeah, you don't really ever see, like, Indiana going in and punching Ohio State in the face.
It just never really happens. I mean, it's not completely without precedent. It's every once in a while, Iowa will be like, guess what? We're going to win this game 6-3.
Yeah. I think there was a game like that last year where they won like 6-3.
Correct.
Had no business winning that game.
Iowa scored 8 points a game last year. They were the second worst offense in the country.
They're so bad.
Anyway. So, how deep is the Big 12 conference? What we know right now is that they are problematically deep. So, if you're a Utah fan, regardless of a Cam Rising injury that is not serious, you don't have to worry about it, whatever. If you're an Oklahoma State fan, if you're a Kansas State fan, if you're somebody who's like, my team is going to run the show here, you don't get to sit back and say that, because all of a sudden Arizona State decided they're good, kind of. Not good enough to steal the championship from you, but maybe good enough to make your life a little bit more miserable. And if you're the runner-up, you don't get to go to the college football playoff when everyone else gets a seat at the table. I got a lot of problems with you people.
So the grievances are starting early, huh?
No, we'll wait till Friday. In any case. All right. How deep is the Big 12 conference? Problematically deep is the answer until we see otherwise. The Sean O'Connell Show, Spence Checketts in the Drive coming up next. We'll do a little crosstalk with Spence. He's going to come into the studio. It's a Monday. Your Utes are ranked number 12 in the country, according to the Associated Press. 2-0 with Utah State looming. It's ESPN 700.
Bernard, the tailback, 3 wide look here for Utah on 1st and 10 from their own 20, leading at 7-3. Covey the motion man across the formation, left to right. Now he'll come back right to left. Play action pass for Rising. They try to set up the screen, and then he just throws it at the feet of Brant Keithy.
Number 80 was in the area of the pass. Second down.
We haven't seen a lot of screens this year. They tried to set one up, but SC was ready for it.
Yeah, and what happens is Keithy's blocking, and the guy doesn't go past him. He stays on him, and so the play was kind of dead there. But it looked like it was going to be a screen to Covey, but it didn't work.
2nd down and 10. Rising goes under center. Motion across the formation for the tight end. A turn and a give. Mekhi Bernard trying to bust to the outside. Gets through to the second level. Bernard still on his feet. Beyond the 25 and out to the 27-yard line. Good run that time by Mekhi Bernard, but a flag down behind the play, and this is going to be holding on Utah. Oh, maybe. Wait. This might be on USC.
Holding. Number 49 of the defense.
Oh, wow.
This 10-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play, resulting in a first down.
You don't see it often from a lineman on defense, but Tuli Tuipulotu grabs somebody, an offensive lineman, on the inside that time. That'll be an automatic first down.
Yeah, and typically you see that on pass plays. But sometimes these defensive linemen, they try to hold when they're going to have a double team block, and it makes one guy not be able to do it. You do not see it very often. But when you do, it's a big deal.
Yeah, Vele and Howard to the right-hand side here. 2 tight ends in the ball game. Tavion Thomas the back of the ball game now as Keithy goes in motion, rising under center, a turn and a give. Tavion Thomas, not much there. Tavion running with both hands around the football. He's had fumbling issues, and he gets cut down right at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
Yeah, and it's good to see him back in the game. I'm sure he spent the whole bye week with a football taped to his body. Probably slept with it at night, but good to see that he ran and didn't fumble.
Raymond Scott made the tackle. Raylan Goforth not in the game yet. He has to sit out the entire first half. He got ejected for targeting in their last game. 2nd down and 10 for the 36-yard line. Handoff straight ahead. That's Mekhi Bernard. Not much there. He picks up 2 to the 39-yard line. And a flag comes in after the play. And this one's going to go against Utah, I think. I think it's going to be an unsportsmanlike after the play, Scott. It is.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 55 of the offense is first of the game. This is a 15-yard penalty. The down counts. It is 3rd down.
Just kind of a dumb play by Nick Ford. He shoved the guy and knocked him backwards and almost knocked him over after the play. So now instead of 3rd down and short or 3rd down and manageable, you've got 3rd down and it's like about 20.
Yeah, and it really is a dumb play. And you have a team like USC that's on the ropes. You can't give them any way back.
3rd down and 23. Utah, we'll see about a 4-man rush here from SC. Plenty of time for Rising. Going to step up away from the pressure and then go down. He'll be dropped for a sack and a loss of 2, and that was an awful offensive series that time around by Utah. They didn't have that same rhythm they had in that last offensive series, and USC gets them off the field.
27 for USC is now number 45.
Yeah, and it's so important for Utah to have a positive play on 1st down. And that screenplay that kind of just didn't go anywhere just kind of set the tone.
Number 21 is also wearing 92.
A young team that's just trying to find itself a little bit here offensively, and it's going to be kind of iffy up and down.
Peasley to punt. They're coming after it, and they don't get it. It's a short punt by Cam Peasley. It's across the 50, checks up, and goes out of bounds at the Utah 49. Bad offensive series and a bad punt by Peasley.
Timeout on the field.
And SC.
All right, some topical trivia before we get to crosstalk with Spence Checketts. We've got Jersey Mike's free sub cards. We've got 2 tickets to Pit Bull September 25th at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. $25 gift card to Farmer and Chemist and FightCon tickets. That is we call a prize pack. 877-353-0700, as you know, is the Dish Pros text line. You had to have been listening. Bryson Barnes, Utah State quarterback, joined me on the show. I said, how fast is your 40? What's the number Bryson Barnes gave us as his 40 time? He looked fast against Robert Morris, at least.
That was a 4.3, in my opinion.
877-353-0700. And the people were listening. We've already got some correct answers. You love to see it. We got tickets and a prize pack. Congratulations for listening and knowing. All right, Spence Checketts and The Drive coming next. How are you, Spence?
I'm good, man. So you gave away free subs. You gave
Yeah.
away Pitbull tickets.
Uh-huh.
Glad you guys are giving away Pitbull tickets and we don't have to.
Mr. Worldwide?
Not a fan. What was the third thing you gave away in the prize pack?
$25 gift card to Farmer and Chemist.
Wow.
And a fourth, FightCon tickets.
Look at us.
October 5th.
We are growing up as a radio station. We have actual real things to give away. I love it, man.
Isn't it lovely?
I thought you were going to be front row for Pitbull, though.
I'll tell you what, we did have something unprecedented happen on the show about 3 weeks ago. We were giving away Limp Bizkit tickets, and the winner declined. He's like, no, I'm good. Congrats. You get to go see Limp Bizkit. It's like, no, I'm good, man. Don't send me the
I
tickets.
did it all for the Nookie, not for
Indeed.
Limp Bizkit.
I did go to that show. It was actually a good show.
Come on, man.
I'm serious. I wish that was satire. I wanted to hate it. It was actually a good show.
Well, and you would know. You go to a lot more shows than any of us. I just don't know that I would pay any money to see Fred Durst do his thing.
In 8th grade, I would have been all over that.
Oh, sure. Hat on backwards?
Heck yeah.
100%. Like a team hat.
Like a red Yankees hat.
Like a fitted red Yankees hat on backwards.
Yeah.
Fred Durst had a minute, but that was like 1999, right?
Ish.
Yeah.
Which is, it's still making me vomit in my mouth that was 25 years ago.
Why do you keep bringing it up?
Because this is growing up, Sean. Everything hurts.
Yeah, you're still kind of a young. I'm adolescent because I'm under 200 pounds, but you're adolescent because you're under 40.
No, I'm not under 40. Alonzo is.
I am under 40.
I thought you were way older than Sean. How old are you?
I am 38. Sorry, I had to do the math.
And are you 40 on the dot?
I'm 41. I just turned 41.
Yeah, he just turned 41.
I'm the elder statesman.
Yes.
How was your weekend, man?
It was good. It
Yeah?
was. I told Alonzo I kind of got in trouble on the Bellator Fights broadcast because we were doing rehearsals and
I was impressed you didn't take any of the free waters in there either.
and
that's
that's
growth.
why he'll never hit
It's
that
growth.
200-pound mark.
Oh, so are you saying that I should be smashing donuts?
No,
now?
I'm saying like in that regard, it's
Yeah.
impressive
Okay, thank you.
because I would have been like donut, rut-row.
You know what? I always forget how hot it gets on the field because I went
Yes.
down and I watched the fourth quarter on the field. I wanted to get the deal with the cam stuff.
Yeah.
It gets hot down there.
Yes.
On the field. It was a warm day. I'm ready for a little fall football. I'm not going to lie.
Well, we drove up. I got back on Sunday morning from San Diego and drove up to Pineview yesterday, and the leaves are already changing up there.
Lovely. San Diego to Pineview. It's good
Yeah.
to be Sean. I
All-
love me some San Diego, and I love me some Pineview.
Yeah,
No.
but the leaves are already changing up there. So
Okay.
fall is officially upon us in 13 days?
And
The first day of fall?
And I'm a warm weather guy, unapologetically. I love the spring and the summer. I want the sun. But I think standing on the sideline next to Mark Harlan, not a big deal. I just went down to say hello.
See what you did there.
Let's not be weird. It made me pine for some fall football. It was hot. It was hot. So there was that.
Well, we're getting some fall football.
Yep.
Including tonight. You can listen right here on ESPN 700 to Monday Night Football, Jets-Niners.
My Jets, your Niners.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot about that.
We got throw Rogan under center for us, and you guys have a Super Bowl caliber roster. So I'm not feeling all that optimistic. Alonso likes my Aaron Rodgers nickname.
Well done.
That is a great nickname for Aaron
Yes.
Rodgers. Throw Rogan.
I cannot.
Do you know Aaron Rodgers' regular season record against the 49ers?
No, I do not.
It's not good.
No, it's good.
I thought it wasn't.
In the
Oh,
regular
playoffs,
season,
playoffs.
he's 6-3 against the Niners. In
Yeah.
the playoffs, 0-4.
0-4.
Yeah, that sounds right. Well,
Yeah.
Monday Night Football. Do you think
There a wager between you two, by the way?
What's the line? San Fran -3?
I don't know, actually.
I think
I'll look it up.
I think it's -3. When I looked at it, it was like -3, 3.5. Even though they're at home. You want to take the point? We can do lunch.
3.5.
3.5. You want 3.5? You got to give me 3.5. Obviously, you're the favorite.
We're Niners by 3.5 is the official
correct
as up to the moment line.
As of
Yes,
right now,
correct.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to do a sandwich?
Yeah.
Jersey Mike's.
Some Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's for the
I'll
for
bring
the
in
winner.
5 Jersey Mikes for you if you want.
You got gift cards.
I got the cards.
I say he's got the gift cards, yeah.
Proud sponsors.
Yeah. All right. Me and Spence, we're wagering a friendly lunch for entertainment purposes only on Niners versus Jets tonight, which you can listen to right here on ESPN 700, 92.1, ESPN 700 app.
Oh, if I'm on a golf course and it's like, you want to bet? I'm like, hey, how about a sandwich? It's about Jersey Mike sandwich. It's the only thing I'll bet.
That's the only thing you'll bet?
You lose, you got to spend $10 on my sandwich and my chips. I lose, I got the gift card.
That's actually very responsible of you.
Yeah.
So he just carries a stack of them at all times.
I've got 5 in my wallet right now.
Hey, that is responsible.
It is. You think we see Cam and Logan?
I do not.
Neither do I.
I put a poll out on if he's available but less than 100%, so he's recovering.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with him? And 54% of the votes say you just rest him for Oklahoma State. There are about 20% of people who say, no, play him.
Yeah.
And 27% of people say play him for a half. So I don't play him for a half. If you're going to play him, just play him and see what happens, but rest him if you can, and I think you can against Utah State.
And you probably know this, but I was just doing a little recon this morning, looking at some stats. Isaac has played more snaps than Cam. Through 2 games, Isaac Wilson has played more football than Cameron Rising.
Yes, but a lot of those have been handoffs.
I don't know, man. It's got to look better than it did. It's got to look better than it did on Saturday. If he's really your 2, okay, because I feel like we've seen Brandon Rose play good football. Sam Heward's obviously a vet. But if Isaac's your 2, it's got to look better than it did on Saturday.
100% it does.
Yep.
And I think that Kyle Whittingham addressed that in the press conference today, and he said, well, if he's going to start, the reps become different. And look, I said somewhat facetiously, but not all that facetiously, just don't let him hand the ball off in practice anymore. Just make him throw. Put him against the ones and make him throw, make him throw, make him throw. Let him get comfortable. Let him understand the speed, the tight picture windows that you get, because the kid needs to build confidence. And I know that he's not his brother, but there are similarities between the way the 2 of them play.
100%.
And confidence is massively, massively, massively important at that quarterback position, and I think maybe particularly so, uniquely so, for these Wilsons. So let him build some confidence.
Yeah, both of them, I mean, it's undeniable arm talent. And Scott Mitchell actually talks about how at times Isaac's ball looks a little bit better than Cam's. Just a little more zip on it, right? I mean, both Isaac and Zach can absolutely spin a football, but it's just consistency, decision-making, and to your point, confidence, which is important for any quarterback, but probably extra important for an 18-year-old kid that just enrolled in school in April.
He's played a total of 1 game in college football.
Right,
Yes.
right. Yep.
Crosstalk brought to you by Bolt Skin and Shave. It's the first brand for men who shave their legs. A Utah brand leading a new revolution in men's grooming with a full suite of shave products, starting with a 5-blade performance razor, which will just hammer through your neck beard.
And it does.
Even if you got a nasty one.
Mine's pretty thick, too. Like, if you let that thing, if you're like, screw it, we're growing a beard. In a month and a half, what does that look like?
It's not that much longer.
Okay.
Do you like, if I wanted to grow one of these big, giant, like hang down type beards, I think my face would just stop at some point and be like, yeah, no.
I've got a really disgusting picture of my friends and I did this thing about 6 months ago. It's like, send us your most COVID picture is what we did. So on the friend thread, mine is shocking. Mine is stunning because my hair was super long. I don't know if you remember, I had really long hair. And then at one point, I'm like, screw it. The beard's coming at you too. And it's a rough look, to say the least. But I had one of those, not like one of those all the way down, past your chest situation, but I had a very long beard during COVID.
Gross.
It was gross. I'd wake up and be like, yeah, Chinese last night. Still in the beard. That gross. Yeah.
Boltshave.com. What is coming up on the drive?
We got Dr. Hill in studio. Dr. Chris Hill will be in studio for an hour. Bill's going to roll by. We'll replay Coach Witt's presser. And then Kyle Beckerman is being inducted into the Utah Sports Hall of Fame tonight. So the captain from RSL will stop by to talk about tonight's induction. So about 90% college football, little RSL. And we are 1 month away from the Utah Hockey Club dropping the puck here in Salt Lake. So excited for that.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Stay tuned for the drive with Spence Checketts right here on your home of the Utes, ESPN 700.